Chapter 3400. The discussion around them became louder and louder. Although they were all guesses, there were some wild words that were strangely accurate. Who is this girl? Why is Director Du protecting her like this? I heard that the Du group wanted to build a business center after buying Shingyi Village, but now Du Jiusheng has changed his mind. What is this situation? Moreover, there is a child. Who is this child? In short, Shingyi Village is definitely big news today. Quickly take a picture. Don't say that I have a big hole in my head. Perhaps Director Du is hiding a mistress, and that child might be his illegitimate child. That's impossible. That little girl seems to be in her early 20s. How could she have a 5-year-old child? That's right. Not only did Luo Qingxin hear the discussion around them, Du Jiusheng also heard it. After walking off the stage, he gave her the tablet in his bag. I'll have the G send you to the hotel next door. You and Yen can rest first. There are still things to take care of after the press conference, so wait for my news. You. Luo Qingxun slightly knit her brows. She had many doubts in her heart and many things she wanted to ask, but she didn't know where to start, so she stuttered in the end. Then why did you give me a tablet? Du Jiusheng heard this and gave her an answer that she couldn't imagine at all. I'm afraid you'll be bored. Actually, Du Jiusheng didn't know what was wrong with him, but since he couldn't control his actions, he had to follow his heart. As for why he had this kind of behavior, he made a shallow conclusion. It should be he fell in love with this girl who seemed to be in her early 20s and had a 4 or 5-year-old child. At first sight, bored? There's a robot in the tablet that I developed. If you and Yin are bored in the hotel, it can relieve your boredom. Pika, Pika, Pika. Master is using me as a tool to relieve his boredom in order to pick up girls. Sorry. Du Jiusheng slightly knit his brows before revealing an awkward smile. I forgot to turn it off. As soon as his voice fell, Du Jiusheng looked at his assistant, the G on the side, and said, Take Miss Luo to the hotel. Don't let the reporters take pictures of her. Yes, boss. Perhaps it was because they were too focused on each other that they didn't notice a deep gaze looking in their direction. It wasn't anyone else. It was Yukin Kan who was going with Du Jiusheng. In less than an hour, she felt that her life had changed greatly. It was as if his originally bright heart had suddenly become incomparably dark. It was because of the appearance of that woman, called Luo Qingxun, that she was separated from Du Jiusheng. At least, that was what she thought. Teton Hotel. In a city's famous 5-star hotel, room 3333 on the 33rd floor was Du Jiusheng's exclusive room. After ordering all kinds of snacks and meals for them, Daji respectfully handed over his business card with both hands and said, This is my business card. Miss Luo, if you need anything, call this phone number at any time. Daji is like a robot, available 24 hours a day. If you bootlick well, you'll have a good future. Although Daji didn't know the background of this woman called Luo Qingxun, he only needed to know that his boss cared about this woman like a madman. Chapter 3401. He was a madman. Daji had never seen Du Jiusheng like this before. He had completely lost his reason and judgment. All his decisions came from Luo Qingxin. To put it simply, a man who instantly fell in love was truly terrifying. The assistant of a man who fell in love had to please this woman who had a 99% chance of becoming the boss wife in the future. Luo Qingxun revealed an awkward smile as she said, Thank you. I'm going to the Olympic Center next door to help the boss. The matter of him building a resort in Star River Village will cause a stir in the business circle, and the media will ask about it. Normally, I should be by his side as his assistant. Daji cleared his throat, but the boss is worried that Miss Luo will be harassed by the reporters, so he had me send you to his hotel first. His hotel? Oh. Daji continued. This is a hotel under the Du Group. Miss Luo, have a good rest. I'll be leaving first. All right. Luo Qingxun watched Daji leave, and her lips curled into a faint smile. There's a very warm feeling. How should it be described? It should be that whether Du Jiusheng had memories or not, it didn't seem that important. He had always been good to her. He had never disappointed her, hurt her, or made her sad. Luo Qingxun closed the door and put her hands on her hips. She looked at Nian with a serious look. Do you know what you did wrong? Nian and was actually very smart. He knew that Luo Qingshun was going to blame him the moment she spoke. Nian lowered his head and said, I know my wrongs. Grandfather should have told you to be polite when meeting strangers. Luo Qingshun put her hands on her hips. Why are you calling him? Calling him father? It wasn't that she didn't believe that there was a father and son relationship in this world, but Nian was different from other children. His understanding had reached a level that she couldn't understand. He wasn't someone who would casually call someone father. So, there had to be a reason. Because he is Nian's father. Nian suddenly nodded. I can see it. When she saw Father Jiusheng, there were many images of him and her mother together that flashed in her mind. Mommy doesn't seem to have changed, and Daddy Jiusheng looks even younger. What did you say? Luo Qingshun was stunned. She was very surprised by what Nian said. I'm not lying. Nian forcefully shook his head. Moreover, grandfather said that this design was drawn by father. Father Jiusheng said that he drew it. Luo Qingshun took a deep breath and said, This matter is quite complicated. Mother can't explain it clearly in a short time. I will explain it to you slowly when we go back. Okay? So Mommy is going to tell a beautiful story? Nian pouted. Do you still blame Nian? It's not your fault. Luo Qingshun patted his head and said, Also, it's really a beautiful story. Ding dong. Just when Luo Qingshun was feeling a little emotional, the doorbell rang. Luo Qingshun was stunned as she thought. Could it be that the G is back? That shouldn't be possible. It would be good if he called me for something. He shouldn't have come back. Then who could it be? Mommy, is Father Jiusheng back? Nian blinked and said, I'll go open the door. Father Jiusheng. The moment Nian opened the door, the face that was revealed didn't give him any surprise. Perhaps it was more of a shock. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Can you guess who it is? You have to fight. Chapter 34:02. When she opened the door, Nian was surprised as a calm look appeared in her pure eyes. Luo Qingshun didn't even need to walk over to know that it wasn't due Jiusheng. It wasn't because of intuition, but rather because there was something wrong with Nian's eyes. Look at how a child speaks. You can tell what kind of person their parents are. Yukin walked in with her 10-centimeter high heels, not planning on asking for the owner's permission to enter the room. Pika, pika, pika. One doesn't need to look to know what kind of person they are when they enter someone else's room. There was a mechanical voice that came from the tablet, making Luo Qingshun feel a bit closer. This robot that Du Jiusheng made actually had a bit of similarity to the system's voice. Actually, it couldn't be denied that although she always complained to the system in all these worlds, she did rely on the system. It was a kind of dependence like family. So when the system's voice appeared in her mind 5 years ago, her eyes turned red from excitement. In this kind of special world, it was almost impossible for her, who didn't have any powers, to change the ending of this world. Therefore, when this voice appeared, it made her feel a sense of security. Yukin bit her lip as her heart felt a bit uncomfortable. She often went to do Jiusheng's company, so naturally she knew that this voice came from the robot he made, Pikachu. But this robot rarely interfered, having the same cold personality as Du Jiusheng. It was a high-level robot. It loved to watch from the side. Young miss you. Why did you come uninvited? Luo Qingshun didn't chase her out with a fierce look. Rather, she walked to the sofa and slowly made a cup of flower tea. The hot water filled the cup, and the fragrance of the tea filled the room. I should be the one asking you this. Yukin narrowed her eyes as she walked towards Luo Qingshun in her high heels. What is your goal in approaching Jiusheng? 5 years. No, perhaps it wasn't just 5 years. From the moment she saw Du Jiusheng, she fell in love with that man at first sight. He was arrogant, conceited, calm, and cold. No matter what he did, he always sought defeat in his own domain. No one could enter his heart, regardless of whether it was a man or a woman. But for some reason, such a cold man was full of charm in her eyes. She wanted to get closer to him. She wanted to use time to warm his heart. She thought that even if he was a big ice house, as long as she spent enough time, she could melt him. But Du Jiusheng's attitude towards Luo Qingshun today had given her a heavy blow. It was as if all his beliefs had collapsed at this moment, as if all his efforts were not as good as Luo Qingshun's smile. But this woman already had a child. This kind of dirty woman. How could she be worthy of Du Jiusheng? I get close to him. Luo Qingshun took a sip of the flower tea. She brewed herself and said, "Why do you say that? Why do I feel that he's the one who's trying to get close to me?" Although Nian and saved Li Luo, he was the one who said that he would send them to the hospital. There should be a cause and effect. So Luo Qingshun felt that there really wasn't anything wrong with what she said. Hee. You can gave two cold laughs. If you didn't instigate it, would a 5-year-old child call someone dad on the street? Read the latest chapter of Transmigration Female Lead, Male God, Incessant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 3403. It was probably because Nian and called her father that Yukin believed Luo Qingshun's character. She felt that Luo Qingshun was a scheming woman. So what? Luo Qingshun said with a shrug. Miss Yukin, can't you think that before you ask me this question? Shouldn't you consider what status you are using to ask me this question? Yukin Kim was at a loss for words. She couldn't say anything. She naturally knew the meaning of Luo Qingshun's words. She wasn't Du Jiusheng's relative, nor was she Du Jiusheng's girlfriend. No matter what kind of woman approached him or what kind of child called him father, she shouldn't have the right to ask. But Du Jiusheng was such an outstanding person. Even if she couldn't get him, she couldn't allow a woman with a child to dirty him. Miss Luo Qingshun, could it be that you don't have any self-awareness at all? After a few seconds, Yukin took a deep breath. You even have a child. How can you keep pestering Jiusheng? I'm not afraid of fair competition with you, but you don't even have a chance to compete with me. There were many women around Du Jiusheng over the years. It wasn't like she hadn't seen women play tricks. But at least they didn't have a child. This woman in her eyes was unbearable and dirty. She wasn't qualified to approach Du Jiusheng. Actually, I agree with what Miss Yukin said, but the order should be changed. Luo Qingshun's lips curled into a faint smile. It isn't that I don't have the right to compete with you. It's that you don't have the right to compete with me. Because Luo Qingshun didn't give her a chance to refute, she directly cut her off. You know that the person Du Jiusheng cares about is me. Ha ha. Yukin pretended to laugh sarcastically, and her tone immediately became sharp. She looked at her and said, I'm curious. Why is a woman from a remote place with a child so confident? She originally wanted to be elegant, because the calmer and more elegant she was, the more clearly she could widen the gap between her and Luo Qingshun. But now, it seemed that Luo Qingshun was even calmer than her. She didn't say a single dirty word, but to her, every word was like a gem. Luo Qingshun narrowed her cold eyes, and her lips curled into a cold smile. Then, Miss Yukin, can't you mean that Mr. Du Jiusheng doesn't care about me at all, and I was thinking too much? Of course you're thinking too much. What kind of status does Jiusheng have? How could he care? Oh. Before you could finish her sentence, Luo Qingshun interrupted her again. Then what are you doing here? Since you think that Mr. Du Jiusheng doesn't care about me, why did you run over here like you couldn't hold back? Luo Qingshun held her cheek with her left hand and tapped the table out of habit with her right hand. Are you warning me to back off, or are you trying to act high above me to make me feel how low my status is? For a person like Yukin, Luo Qingshun could see through her with a single glance. All her emotions were written on her face. She didn't hide them at all. After she said this, Yukin finally couldn't hold it in anymore and exploded. She immediately read the latest chapter of Transmigration Female Lead, Adonis, Teasing Incessant Claw Bookstore for free. Chapter 3404. She slapped the table with her right hand and picked up the flower teacup on the table, wanting to throw it in Luo Qingshun's direction. But even if Luo Qingshun lost her powers, she still had her skills. Not to mention a single cup. Even if 10 cups were thrown at her, she could guarantee that not a single drop of water would fall on her. Yukin stomping her feet in anger was just child's play for her. Pong! There was the sound of the cup falling and the glass shattered, but Luo Qingshun quickly moved in another direction. She was calm, as she had a faint smile on her lips. She put her hands in her pocket, and although she was calm, She gave people an imposing feeling as she looked at Yukon Can. Yukon Can, you definitely aren't my match. No matter what, she wasn't her match. She wasn't better than her not because of how good she was, but rather because of their position in Du Jiusheng's heart. It wasn't even heaven or earth. It was the difference between having and not having. Luo Qingchun, you bit her lip. Seeing her calm appearance, her heart was completely filled with rage. Her hands kept trembling as she panted, I definitely won't let you two dirty mother and son approach Jiu Sheng. Definitely won't. Plum. There was the sound of glass shattering again. But this time, the glass didn't shatter on the floor, but rather Nian's head. Luo Qingchun felt her back turn stiff, and her heart jumped into her throat. Why was Nian here? Wasn't he standing on the other side? Why was he suddenly standing beside Yukon Can? At this moment, blood gushed out from Nian's head. Luo Qingchun jumped out and ran to Nian's side. She quickly pressed down on the wound on his head with her left hand and grabbed Yukon Can's throat with her right hand. This series of actions took less than 3 seconds. Yukon Can didn't even have time to react, as there was a suffocating feeling that came from her. Let go. Let go. Luo Qingchun's strength was very strong. It seemed that if she increased her strength, Yukon Can's neck would be broken. In this world, everyone had their own reverse scale. Nian was a reverse scale that no one could touch. Moon Can. Her voice was as cold as ice, and every word seemed to freeze the surrounding air. Her fingernails dug deeply in her neck as she said, If anything happens to Nian, I want your entire family to be buried with him. At this moment, Yukon Can's entire body was trembling uncontrollably, and tears flowed from the corners of her eyes. A deep fear pervaded her surroundings. She didn't even dare to look at Luo Qingchun's bloodshot eyes, because those eyes were filled with killing intent. If she hadn't walked into this room, she would never have believed that she would feel such fear when facing Luo Qingchun. And at this very moment, she completely felt it. This kind of fear that she couldn't explain, that she used all her strength to break free from. Pika, 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 calling Master 1310-000-1314. Pikachu directly called Du Jiusheng. As a robot, it had never acted on its own. This was its first time. When Du Jiusheng received the call, Pikachu shouted in a mechanical voice. This is bad, Master. Something has happened, Master. Nian is bleeding a lot. Master, come back. This chapter ends. Chapter 3405. Half an hour later, Nian was pushed into the operation room. Luo Qingchun slightly knit her brows as her expression returned to normal. Yukon didn't want to come to the hospital, but she didn't know why she got in the car. When she arrived at the hospital, she realized that she was already in the hospital. But she kept a distance from Luo Qingchun, not daring to take a step closer. When she was strangling her neck just now, she could really feel death looming over her. She didn't even feel that Luo Qingchun was threatening her at all. She felt that if something really happened to Nian, she would really kill her, even killing her entire family. Relax, nothing will happen. Du Jiusheng tightly knit his brows as he sat beside her. Sorry, I shouldn't have left you alone. He didn't know what to say to her, but he knew that he wasn't just worried about Nian, he was afraid that she would be angry. Although he was very calm about the relationship between him and Yukon Can, he was afraid that she would think too much. Luo Qingchun heard this and didn't seem to come out of her thoughts as she blurted out, Don't blame big brother Jiusheng. What did you call me? Du Jiusheng was surprised, feeling that this name was very familiar. This familiarity made his heart feel safe and warm. Luo Qingchun quickly shook her head. Nothing. Jiusheng, I want to go home. Is that all right? Yukon Can you heard Du Jiusheng's words, and the fear in her heart lessened a bit. She bit her lip and said, I want to go home, Du Jiusheng's cold voice slowly sounded, making Yukon use fear that lessened a bit again. Not now. Not only did Du Jiusheng not plan on protecting her, he was even standing by Luo Qingchun's side. Unless Nian is fine, otherwise. Du Jiusheng narrowed his cold eyes as he looked at Yukon Can. I will personally deal with the Yu family. Actually, he didn't know why he was thinking about Nian like this, turning the personal grudge between Luo Qingshun and Yukinkin into a family grudge that could shake the entire business circle. But since Yukinkin did such a thing, then blame him for being cold and heartless. Perhaps he was cold and heartless to everyone in this world. I didn't do it on purpose. I really didn't do it on purpose. Yukinkin shook her head and said, Jiusheng, I care. I don't want you to have any relationship with a woman who already has a child. I'm doing this for you. Although Yukinkin was flustered, she still had some rationality. At least she knew that if she said this now, there would be a gap between Luo Qingshun and Du Jiusheng. She just didn't say it. No matter how special Du Jiusheng felt this woman was, she had climbed into another man's bed and had a child with that man. This kind of thing was understandable. Any man would care about it. Du Jiusheng slightly knit his brows. There was a sparkle in his deep eyes as he looked at Yukinkin. What does it matter to you? These concise and comprehensive words completely shut Yukinkin's mouth. At this moment, Yukinkin felt like a clown in a one-man show. That's right. It had nothing to do with her. Nothing to do with her at all. How ironic. How mocking. She had worked so hard over the years, but she couldn't beat a woman who had only appeared for less than 4 hours. She had lost too thoroughly. May I ask who Nian Anne's family is? Our blood bank isn't enough right now, so we might need to donate blood. Read the latest chapter of Transmigration Female Lead, Male God, Incessant Claw Book House for free. Chapter 3406. Luo Qingshun heard this and quickly came forward. I am Nian Anne's mother. Do you need to donate blood? Yes, the nurse said with a nod, but in order to avoid complications, immediate family members can't donate blood to their child. Do you have any other friends who want to come with you? If you don't, you need to come with me to the blood dispensing station 200 meters away to sign. No need. A faint Guang appeared in Du Jiusheng's eyes. I can donate. As he spoke, he rolled up his sleeves and walked toward the nurse. Luo Qingshun was a bit surprised. She felt that something was wrong and immediately came forward to grab his wrist. You can't donate. In strict medicine, if it wasn't a serious disease treated by the panda blood, immediate family members couldn't donate blood to their child. So Du Jiusheng couldn't donate. Because he was Nian Anne's father. Why? Du Jiusheng knit his brows. There was a dark glow in his eyes, which was a look of scrutiny. Luo Qingshun looked away, not daring to look at Du Jiusheng. This kind of person with high EQ and IQ, he could easily see through her with a single look. So in this situation, it was better not to look at his eyes. Because Luo Qingshun bit her lip and looked at Yukinkin, who was trembling on the side. Because I want her to donate. Du Jiusheng was a bit surprised. Yukinkin looked around before looking at Luo Qingshun with a look of disbelief. You want me to donate? She was the only young miss of the U group. When she was young and accidentally bled a bit, her father's heart ached. In the U family, she was a treasure that was held in the palm of their hands. Everything on her was precious, not to mention blood. You caused Nian to be injured. Shouldn't you donate it? Unless you want to stay here and don't want to go home. The next second, Yukinkin seemed to have been awakened by Luo Qingshun. She took a step forward and immediately said, I'll donate, I'll donate, I'll donate. Luo Qingshun naturally saw the fear in Yukinkin's eyes. She was probably terrified to stay here. Therefore, not to mention donating blood, even if she was asked to do something else, she would probably rush to do it. Because she wanted to leave Luo Qingshun's side, leave Du Jiusheng's side. Even if she loved Du Jiusheng deeply, it couldn't eliminate her fear because the fear Du Jiusheng gave her was even greater. Okay, please come with me. The nurse was a little embarrassed, but since the patient was waiting for a blood transfusion, she could only interrupt the awkward atmosphere and lead Yukinkin to the blood transfusion room. But now that there was only her and Du Jiusheng left in the corridor, the air became strangely awkward. No, it wasn't awkward, it was strange. For ordinary people, Luo Qingshun asking Yukinkin to donate blood was a very reasonable request. But she knew that it was impossible for Du Jiusheng to eliminate the doubts in his heart because of the reason she gave. Therefore, even when Yukinkin left the corridor for a long time, Luo Qingshun didn't look at Du Jiusheng. When the atmosphere became a bit awkward, Luo Qingshun touched her ear and revealed an awkward and impolite smile. Thank you, Mr. Du, for taking us to the hospital again. If Nian is fine, how about I invite you to a meal later? End of this chapter. Chapter 3407. According to her thoughts, there was a 99% chance that nothing would happen to Nianen, because perhaps, Nianen being attacked by Yu Kim was something he planned. She had been too nervous in the hotel, so she didn't seriously think about it. The feeling of a mother protecting her child instantly overshadowed all her reasoning. Even killing intent filled her, pushing Yu Kan to the edge of death. But she didn't feel sorry for Yu Kan. After all, the one who threw the teacup at Nianen was her, so there was nothing wrong with that. Nianen had seen through her thoughts and appeared in the right place at the right time. Perhaps it couldn't be said that he saw through her thoughts, because a large part of it was because of the moon glass fan's prediction of the future. Nianen might have already known what Yu Kan wanted to do, so he secretly moved. As for the goal, it should be related to Du Jiusheng. The biggest reason should be that this child was also protecting her, so he used the most extreme method to make Yu Kan disappear from Du Jiusheng's side. Nianen's thoughts were a bit like his father's. A 5-year-old child, his thoughts were this meticulous and heavy. The book said that children without parents matured early. She and Du Jiusheng weren't by Nianen's side during his 5 years of innocence. Therefore, it was normal for him to be more mature than other children his age. In order to avoid complications, immediate family members can't donate blood to their children. Du Jiusheng repeated the nurse's words before suddenly looking up. He looked at Luo Qingshun with a gentle gaze and said, "You don't want me to give blood to Nian, and because, Mr. Du." Luo Qingshun looked away in a panic. "What I want to say is, am I Nian's immediate family member?" His cold voice carried a unique aura, and every word was like a temple bell that struck her heart. Luo Qingshun looked up and looked into his eyes. No matter how many years passed, Du Jiusheng was still Du Jiusheng. Whether it was his appearance or personality, it hadn't changed at all. The people he focused on, the things he focused on, they were all related to her. Perhaps it wasn't just her, but them. Big brother Jiusheng, why do you have to use the words immediate family? Luo Qingshun's lips curled into a faint smile. Can't you call me something shorter? Du Jiusheng never thought that Luo Qingshun would give him this kind of response. This was something that he didn't remember, and even if he made an accurate guess, he couldn't remember. Even if he made an accurate guess, he couldn't be certain. But at that moment, Luo Qingshun's response made him tremble. She gave him an answer that was almost incomparably accurate, and this answer actually made him feel happy. Big brother Jiusheng's guesses, right? Luo Qingshun said with trembling brows. Since it's like this, how about you tell me your speculations and conclusions? To her, Du Jiusheng was someone she couldn't be more familiar with, but to Du Jiusheng, she was a complete stranger. A woman who had intruded into his life for less than 5 hours had become so important to him. 5 years ago, when I went missing, I was in Star River Village, right? End of chapter. Chapter 3408. Enough. Luo Qingshun pursed her lips into a smile. You really are big brother Jiusheng. You guessed it right away. Then why didn't you come find me? But Du Jiusheng's next question made Luo Qingshun's smile freeze on her face. Why didn't she come find him? If I could... Luo Qingshun's lips curled into a helpless smile. I also want to come find you, but can you recognize me with a single glance? Although she had a helpless smile in the first sentence, her tone in the second sentence was very naughty and happy. It was like at an unknowingly opportune moment. In this hospital corridor, she had teased this calm and ice-cold man. I can. Du Jiusheng raised his right hand and pushed the hair in front of her forehead behind her ear. If I said that I recognized you with a single glance in front of the department store during the day, would you believe me? I believe you. Luo Qingshun said with a faint smile. I believe everything big brother Jiusheng says. Du Jiusheng revealed a gentle smile that was filled with pampering and warmth. It was like after thousands of years, his gentleness towards her hadn't changed at all. All right, I know. Du Jiusheng looked at her and said, "So, I always felt that I became strange because of this." Became strange? Luo Qingshun was in a daze, not understanding the meaning in Du Jiusheng's words. But she didn't know that Du Jiusheng would just softly pat her head, because I never thought that I would fall in love with someone at first sight, and I never thought that I would fall in love with someone overnight. I even tried to reject this feeling for a few seconds, but I found that my heart wouldn't allow it. Du Jiusheng's sudden confession made Luo Qingshun's face turn red. She could smell the ambiguous smell in the corridor that was filled with the smell of alcohol. "So Big Brother Jiusheng is teasing me?" Luo Qingshun's lips curled into a faint smile as she teased back. "I have to ask if my son agrees or not. I feel that there's no need to ask." Du Jiusheng confidently put his hands in his pockets and said with a faint smile, "He's already calling me Dad." As soon as his voice fell, Du Jiusheng didn't even wait for Luo Qingshun to react before heading in the direction of the operation room. Because just a second ago, he saw that the operating theater's light had dimmed. Luo Qingshun froze for a second. Her face was red just a second ago, but now her eyes were red. Du Jiusheng's appearance was as gentle as ink, like a cool breeze, making her feel nothing but moved. The door opened with a click. The doctor took off the mask and said, "The surgery went smoothly. There were no glass fragments left in his brain. The child was very brave. Because he was too young, we could only give him partial anesthesia. However, he didn't cry at all when we sealed 12 needles." "Thank you, doctor," Du Jiusheng said with a nod. "Can I go in and see him now?" "It's best if a family member can go in." The doctor nodded in agreement. Such a small child undergoing such a big operation, he should be a bit scared. There's a sparkle in Du Jiusheng's eyes as he said, "I am his father." "Jiusheng, what did you say?" At this time, Yukin who came out of the infusion room with a pale face heard Du Jiusheng's words. Her face that was a bit pale from donating blood instantly became even paler. This chapter ends. Chapter 3409. Thank you for donating your blood for Nyin, and although it was words of gratitude, Du Jiusheng's words were ice cold. Nian's injury was directly related to Yu Can, so it was natural for her to donate blood for him. "You said, you are. Whose father are you?" Yu Can's eyes were filled with disbelief as she said, "You're joking, right? Jiusheng, you can't really agree just because he called you father without any manners." Yu Can's tears fell down as she spoke. The grievance in her heart had reached a peak, and it was like she would collapse at the slightest touch. She had always been a gentle, sensible, and dignified young miss in front of Du Jiusheng. She had never shown any ugly side to him. Because she wanted to be the most perfect version of herself in front of Du Jiusheng, she wanted to move into the empty spot in Du Jiusheng's heart. Actually, there were times when she deceived herself that she was about to succeed. After all, Du Jiusheng would have the driver send her back because he was worried about her safety. He would have the driver send her back because he was afraid of the long journey. He would have the driver send her back because it was inconvenient for her to walk in high heels. Right, it was always the driver. He had never sent her back even once. She thought that Du Jiusheng had the driver send her back because he cared about her performance, but it was more because he didn't want to see her. "Miss Yu Can, since your father and my father are family friends, I don't plan on blaming you for hurting Yin, and since you have already paid the price." Du Jiusheng narrowed his cold eyes. "That doesn't mean you're qualified to ask about me, and it doesn't mean you're qualified to judge Qingshun," and Yin and Luo Qingshun felt Du Jiusheng's aura fill the entire hospital. His aura protected them behind him, not letting anyone bully them. Even if it was a verbal attack, it wasn't allowed. It was probably because for a long time, other than being cold to Yu Can, Du Jiusheng was polite to her. Yu Can had never seen Du Jiusheng angry because she wasn't qualified to make him angry. But Du Jiusheng had changed so much that Yu Can finally exploded. "Why? Why are you doing this to me? I like you this much. What about her? She was just a woman who gave birth to a child. She slept with another man and had another man's child. Why are you protecting her like this? Even if she's not a dirty person, a woman of her status doesn't deserve you at all. Why are you?" Yu Can cried, and she cried loudly. She cried until her voice was hoarse. At this moment, It was as if reality had completely shattered her dream. She had been dreaming for a long, long time. Even if it wasn't a beautiful dream, at least she was happy in it and felt sweet in her heart. However, this dream was shattered in the short span of a day. She didn't even have time to react. Du Jiusheng already had a woman he admired, and this woman was a woman with a child. How could she accept such an outcome? Other than crying and screaming at the top of her lungs, all she could do was laugh at herself. Love was love, and not love was not love. Du Jiusheng was indifferent to her not because of other complicated reasons. He just didn't love her. Du Jiusheng gave her a fatal blow as he cut her off in a cold voice. I am Nian En's birth father. As the saying goes, love has been reversed since ancient times. This chapter ends. Chapter 34:10. There were some fatal blows that not everyone could take. At least the words that Du Jiusheng said were the bottom line that Yukinkin couldn't take. She almost stumbled back. If there wasn't a railing on the side, she wouldn't have been able to stand still. Luo Qingshun narrowed her eyes and looked at Yukinkan as her expression changed a bit. But Du Jiusheng's expression didn't change at all, as his face was as cold as an ice mountain. If you still don't understand, I think I can explain it more clearly. Du Jiusheng looked up and said, 5 years ago. No, it should be 6 years ago. I should have disappeared for an entire year, and I was in Xingyi village at that time. Don't say it. Don't say it. Yukinkin covered her ears as tears came down, completely losing the aura of a rich young miss. Actually, even if she was stupid, she should know the truth. That child was 5 years old, and he had disappeared 6 years ago. If he was the child's father, it meant that 6 years ago, Yukinkan struggled to stand up and dragged her tired body out of the hospital with tears on her face. She felt that her world had suddenly collapsed at this moment, and there was no way to salvage it at all. In these 5 years, she worked hard to move in the direction of Du Jiusheng, but she didn't know that there was already someone in his heart. Even if he didn't have any memories, that place had already been filled by that person. It just depended on when she appeared. It seemed like she really appeared at the right time. She brought her and Du Jiusheng's son to give her a fatal blow, completely destroying her world. The anger and unwillingness in Yukinkan's heart was something that no one in this world could understand. But at this time, she received a call from Sumu. This call might have come the right time. Drunk bar. Located in the center of a city, it was a bar filled with mystery and dreamy colors. Yukinkan went home to take a shower and changed into a new set of clothes before coming out. Actually, she didn't plan on going out on this dark day, but Sumu's words on the phone ignited her hatred. If you want to take revenge on them, I can give you some advice. Sumu, Kinkan, it's been a long time since I've talked to you this close. Sumu poured her a mint and lemon-flavored cocktail as his lips curled into a faint smile. Yukinkan took a deep breath and looked at him with bloodshot eyes. What do you mean by advice? Could it be that you know? Du Jiusheng made it so clear. How could I not know? Sumu narrowed his eyes as a dark glow appeared in his elegant eyes. He said through gritted teeth, Actually, I already knew this person 6 years ago, but I never thought that it would be Du Jiusheng. He was suddenly blinded. He never thought that the genius who drew the blueprint was the same person as Du Jiusheng. If he knew it, he wouldn't have let Can't find out who would let him live. Can't be, can't be, can't be, can't be, can't be. Can't to can't be, can't be, can't be a can't to be. Konsumu took a sip of his cocktail, but I always thought that he was just Luo Qingshan's husband. But he never thought that he would be Du Jiusheng. Chapter 34:11. What are you planning to do after saying all this? Yukinkan took a deep breath. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he looked at him. I can help. A love that had already collapsed. A love that had fallen into darkness. It would no longer exist. It would turn into hate. Yukinkan hated Du Jiusheng, but she hated Luo Qingshan even more. If there wasn't Luo Qingshan, any woman in this world would be the same in Du Jiusheng's eyes. At least even if Du Jiusheng didn't love her, she could use her status to be the closest to him. But now, she didn't even have the qualification to look at him from afar. Very good. Sumu raised his right hand to touch her cheek. Kinkan, you're this beautiful, but Du Jiusheng doesn't love you. His eyes aren't good enough. A woman's heart was always at its weakest at this moment. She had been holding on all the way home from the hospital. Even when she arrived at the bar, she did not dare to show the slightest hint of sadness. However, Su Mu's words had touched her sensitive nerves. In an instant, her tears fell like pearls from a broken necklace, big drops of tears falling down. In terms of beauty, she didn't lose to Luo Qingshun. In terms of status, she was several streets ahead of Luo Qingshun. But why? Why did Du Jiusheng love her? Why was it her? You're also very beautiful when you cry. Su Mu's lips curled into a faint smile as he patted her head. Although we've only been friends for many years, I'm not willing to see you suffer like this. As long as you help me with something and leave the rest to me, I definitely won't let them have an easy time. Su Mu didn't have a chance. He had to give it his all. This time, it wasn't to compete with Du Jiusheng, but rather he had to take Xingyi village and turn it into a city square. This was the only way to solve the Su family's urgent problem. Yes, because of some internal factors, the Su family group didn't have a complete capital chain, resulting in a large deficit. The shareholders of the company knew about this, but the employees didn't know. Once something happened to the company, the shareholders would definitely withdraw their funds and run away with it. He had no time to think about it. He had to take Xinghe village to save Su family enterprise. Therefore, he couldn't remain calm this time and let Du Jiusheng take the Star River village. No matter what method he used, he wouldn't give in. What do you want me to do? Yu Can felt that Su Mu was a little scary when she looked like this. It wasn't because of any expression or action, but because of the aura that Su Mu was emitting. Somehow, he felt that it was a murderous intent. The Yu family bought an underground eye cellar in Donglin village 2 years ago. I know very well what CEO Yu uses it for. Yu Can froze, his face turning deathly pale. That underground eye cellar was used to store some weapons of the Yu clan, such as pistols or bombs. It was lonely at the top. People who climbed up in the business circle all had a little dark influence. It was natural for the Yu family to take emergency measures to protect themselves. However, this matter was a shameful matter after all. The Yu family's secrecy was naturally done very well. It should be impossible for outsiders to know about it. Chapter 34:12. Just based on her expression, I know that my guess is right. Su Mu gave a shrug. As long as you lend me the ice cellar, I can guarantee that Luo Qingxin and her 5-year-old child won't be able to see the sun for more than a few days. This was Su Mu's gamble. Actually, he could do this himself, but he had to force Yu Can into the water. Because as long as Yu Can was guilty, no matter what happened in the future for his daughter, Chairman Yu wouldn't stand against him. He knew that Yu Kai had a good relationship with the Du family in the past few years, so if he can turn against him now, as long as Du Jiusheng disappeared again, even if his father came out, he wouldn't be able to do anything. But my father won't agree. You can knit her brows. There are things my Yu family has obtained through many channels over the years. I already know about this matter. What do you think I will do if you don't agree? From being gentle in the beginning to threatening in the end, Su Mu's expression changed in just a second. Yu Can could hear the meaning in his words. In other words, if she didn't help him, he would reveal everything about the Yu family's ice cellar. Secretly hiding weapons, the lightest punishment would be going to jail. The worst punishment would be losing his life. Yu Can thought for 3 seconds before saying, "All right, I agree." She agreed to Su Mu partly because of his threat and partly because of her hatred. Right now, she and Su Mu were on the same boat. Not to mention that Su Mu already knew about the ice cellar, but he didn't report them, which showed his sincerity. Since it was like this, as long as she could make Luo Qingxin suffer, no matter how hard it was, Yu Can would agree, right? Very good. Su Mu revealed a bright smile. I will definitely make them pay a painful price. There was no one in this world who was qualified to compete with him for Star River Village. If those people had to compete with him, then he would just let them die, because only dead people had no right to compete with him. At the same time, in the hospital, Nian woke up about an hour after the operation. Luo Qingxun saw him blink and then close his eyes. She cleared her throat and said, "Since you're already awake, Why are you pretending to be asleep? Did you do something that you can't let me know? Although Nyenin was smart enough, he was only a 5-year-old child. It was almost impossible for him to accurately judge the severity of the injury at such a young age. Nothing happened to Mommy. Nyenin rolled his eyes and said, I'm still young and a baby. I don't understand what Mommy is saying. Are you sure? Luo Qingshun crossed her arms and looked at him. If you confess, I'll be lenient. If you resist, I'll be strict. Because of that woman. When Nyenin was about to confess, Du Jiusheng came in. In the next second, Nyen An's expression changed drastically. Sob? She was the one who hit Nyen An's head. Sob? Why is Mommy blaming me? Nanny? How could he change his attitude so quickly? Oh, right. She forgot that her son had talent for acting. With his kind of high acting skills, it wasn't a problem to win 10 Oscars, all right? What is it? Is Nyenin awake? Daddy Jiusheng. Nyenin pulled the blanket and his watery eyes were filled with tears as he said, Mommy is bullying me. Chapter 34:13. Luo Qingxin's eyes opened wide as she looked at Nyenin in a daze. How did I bully you? Mommy bullying is bullying. Nyenin jumped into Du Jiusheng's embrace. Daddy Jiusheng. Mommy bullied Nyen, and Du Jiusheng's eyes fell onto Luo Qingxin, and his lips curled into a faint smile. There's no one in this world that Nyenin can't bully, but Qingxin can't. Du Jiusheng carried Nyenin back to the bed as his eyes filled with gentleness and scrutiny. Nyenin immediately surrendered. It's my fault. I shouldn't have wronged that woman. When it came to serious matters, not only did Nyenin not cry, his expression became serious. Du Jiusheng patted his head. I didn't wrong her. Mommy just felt that you shouldn't use your own safety for this matter. There was a warm feeling in Luo Qingxin's heart at that moment. Seeing Du Jiusheng looking at Nyen and with a loving and gentle gaze. Seeing the scene of the father and son reuniting in front of her. This was the feeling of waiting for many years finally becoming reality. If their family of 3 could be happy like this, how good would that be? Nyenin knows his wrongs, Daddy Jiusheng. Don't be angry at Nyen, and Nyenin pursed his lips. I definitely won't bully Mommy in the future. Only Mommy can bully me. Nyen is so good. Du Jiusheng patted his head. You have to rest well tonight, understand? Understood. Daddy Jiusheng. Luo Qingxin gave a chuckle as a gentle look appeared in her eyes. After she poured some water for Nyenin, she followed Du Jiusheng to another room. Because of Du Jiusheng, Nyenin had already been moved to the VIP suite. Other than the medical facilities, there were quite a few rooms. Du Jiusheng gave her a cup of hot water. Are you tired after a busy day? Luo Qingxin honestly replied. It's very tiring, but it's also very real. She thought that she would have to spend a lot of time to make Du Jiusheng recognize her again, even making him fall in love with her again. Originally, she had also given herself a great deal of determination. No matter how difficult the road ahead was, she would walk to her side regardless of everything. But she forgot that this person was Du Jiusheng. Even without his memories, he was still that Du Jiusheng. As long as he saw her, his eyes would always stay on her. Why didn't you tell me that Nyen is my child when you came to the hospital just now? For a short period of time, he was tormented because she had a child. He was tormented because he couldn't bear to let go of Nyen, and if I had told you at that time. Luo Qingxin took a sip of water and paused. Would you have believed me? Before I answer your question, I want to tell you something else. Du Jiusheng's eyes that were as deep as the sea sparkled as he said, Do you know why I didn't seem like myself when I first saw you? Luo Qingxin heard this, and her face turned slightly red as she said, Big brother Jiusheng wants to confess. No, it's a fact. So why? Because as long as I approach, my heart can't help wildly beating. I can't focus, and I can't let this feeling disappear. Du Jiusheng revealed a helpless and gentle smile. If I resist it, it will beat even faster, so fast that I feel that my heart isn't mine anymore. Chapter 34:14. Actually, this feeling wasn't a secret anymore, because perhaps he understood something. Why did he agree to go to Star River Village with Luo Qingchun when he lost his memories? It was probably because of his feeling. When he approached her, his heart would beat fast. That was why he had sent her away. Luo Qingchun pursed her lips and took Du Jiushang's hand with her right hand. Thank you for Big Brother Jiushang's confession. Thank you for protecting and trusting me along the way. Du Jiushang patted her head and took her in his embrace. Actually, I feel even more sorry because I don't remember the things I remember. On this day, his life seemed to have gone through a major change, and this change made him feel that he was truly alive. Luo Qingshan said with a smile, "Actually, this kind of Big Brother Jiushang makes people feel warm because even if he doesn't remember anything, he will still stand by my side. I will always be by your side." This sentence was like a promise, and it kept ringing in her ears even after a long, long time. But perhaps God felt that a person's life was more beautiful when they had regrets. But this regret had caused her to wait for 1,000 years. The next morning, when Luo Qingshan got up, Du Jiushang was no longer by her side. She put on her coat and walked out to see him teaching Yin and how to use a cell phone. Luo sure probably didn't buy a cell phone for Yin and was very clear on the current situation of Xinghe Village and never forced anything. "This is Dad's phone number. Yin can call me whenever you want." Du Jiushang patted his head. "Because the company will be busy, you have to be good and not let Mom worry." "I know, Dad Jiushang." Yin took the cell phone and said, "Yin will definitely be good. What are you two whispering about?" Luo Qingshan came forward with a faint smile as she looked at Du Jiushang. "What are you going to do next?" "There are some things that have to be done first." Du Jiushang slightly knit his brows. "I think that Su Mu should already be preparing." "I know that. The business circle is a gray area." Luo Qingshan bit her lip and said, "In the past, the Du Enterprise had the support of the Yuesher Group. Now it's equivalent to 1 against 2. I've never worried about that." Du Jiushang's deep eyes lit up as he said, "There are many properties to be developed this year, but Su Mu might not have a chance. As for the Yu family, CEO Yu is old, and Yu Can is still a woman. There are also strong women among women." Luo Qingshan pursed her lips and said, "Big Brother Jiushang looks down on women." Actually, this was just Luo Qingshan's joke. She knew that Du Jiushang didn't mean this. In the next second, he gently patted her head and said, "There are many powerful women in this world, but there is such discrimination in the business circle. Because in the face of most important decisions, women tend to hesitate." "I see." Luo Qingshan seemed to have thought of something as an idea flashed in her mind. "Right, Big Brother Jiushang. What did you mean when you said that Su Mu didn't have a chance? Even if Su Mu didn't win the Xinghe Village project, it wouldn't affect the Su Enterprise." "Why did Du Jiushang say this?" "I've had Big Machine investigate this matter. Since half a year ago, there have been serious problems with the Su Enterprise's capital chain. This chapter ends. Chapter 34:15. Pikachu and Master's wife will explain next. Master's wife? Luo Qingshan revealed a helpless smile. "This name really is a bit hard to pronounce. Madam, don't mind these details. Normally speaking, if there is a problem with the capital chain of a business, it is caused by a major investment. If they start a risk investment without enough capital, it will cause a serious problem with the company's capital chain. The bank will know immediately and reject the company's loan request." Pikachu's explanation was very detailed, and Luo Qingshan nodded in understanding. "But how does Big Brother Jiushang know such an important secret? This circle isn't small, but it isn't big either." Du Jiushang looked up. "I think that it isn't just me who knows. The Yu group also knows." "Then I understand. Sumu wants Star River Village because Star River Village will decide if the Su family group can make a comeback." "Yes." Du Jiusheng looked at Luo Qingshan with a look of admiration. "Madam really is smart." When Du Jiusheng used Pikachu's tone to say madam, Luo Qingshan felt strangely pampered. She said with a chuckle, "But Big Brother Jiusheng has to be careful. Although Su Mu looks elegant on the surface, she has a lot of thoughts, so you have to be careful." "Relax, I'm not a person with a light mind." Du Jiusheng gently stroked her cheek. When Yin and is discharged, you could bring him back to Star River Village first. Luo Qingshan thought about it before saying, Actually, I already sent a text to my dad. I told him to bring Yin back. I can stay with you. No, big brother Jiusheng. Luo Qingshan cut off Du Jiusheng, who wanted to reject her. She pursed her lips and said, I want to stay by your side, and I feel that I can definitely help you. Whether it was the business world or conspiracy theories, based on the countless worlds she had been to, her methods were even worse than Du Jiusheng's. Du Jiusheng hesitated a bit. Seeing her aggrieved and pleading eyes, he finally gave up. All right. But now that everyone in this circle is on high alert, Su Mu will definitely make a move. Don't run around. No matter what, you have to stay with me. Luo Qingshan was in a good mood when he agreed. She smiled sweetly and said in a teasing tone, Do we have to go to the bathroom or take a shower together? But Du Jiusheng immediately said, I don't think there's a need for the former, but if you insist on the latter, I can satisfy the madam. Cuckoo. Luo Qingshan cleared her throat and took back the bright smile on her face. She looked at Du Jiusheng with a hopeless look. No need. Is there really no need? There's really no need. Oh. Can you two grown-ups not say such shameful things in front of children? Yin is really embarrassed. When Luo Qingshan wanted to refute, a robot's voice slowly sounded. Pikachu, can you two grown-ups not say such shameful things in front of robots? Really, Pikachu is embarrassed. This chapter ends. Chapter 34:16. All right, you've won by singing the same tune. Isn't it enough that you've won? Luo Sure arrived at the hospital around noon. He first blamed Luo Qingshan for not protecting Yin and before watching his little grandsons disappear with a pained expression. Luo Qingshan was very helpless. It really was because Luo Sure spoiled him too much. Otherwise, Yin wouldn't have dared to do such a dangerous thing. This child who never had parents by his side, how could he be so willful at certain times? Grandfather stopped scolding Yin and pretended to shrink into a ball in fear. The way you look at Mommy, does she look like a tree spirit that eats people? He. Tree spirit? Luo Qingshan's lips curled into a cold laugh as she said, Dad, I'll leave Yin to you. The doctor said that he can be discharged after another scan in the afternoon. He just needs to come back for another check-in 3 days. Actually, she had already seen Yin An's situation and it wasn't a big deal. It was just that there was a lot of blood during the operation, so the doctor suggested a blood transfusion. I know. Luo Sure pushed Luo Qingshan's shoulder and said, Go do your work. I'll take Yin back myself later. Luo Qingshan said with a nod. Then I'll go find big brother Jiusheng first. He should be quite busy over there. Go. Luo Sure waved his hand before thinking of something. He grabbed Luo Qingshan's wrist and said, Right, daughter, so Xiaosheng. Did he remember? In these 5 years, Du Jiusheng had lost a year of memories in Xinghe village, so Luo Sure had always been worried about it. To him, as long as Du Jiusheng didn't recover his memories, he and his daughter would always be two parallel lines that would never cross. No matter how hard his daughter worked, there was no other way. Luo Qingshan's smile made Luo Sure's worried expression freeze on his face. She shook her head and said, He didn't remember. What? Luo Sure froze for a moment, feeling his back stiffen. Actually, she had a guess before coming. If Du Jiusheng didn't recover his memories, he wouldn't be this good to her and Yin. If he treated them so well, it meant that he had already recovered his memories. But he vaguely felt that something was wrong, so he directly asked Luo Qingshan, Does it matter if I remember or not? Luo Qingshan smiled sweetly. Even if he doesn't remember, the person he loves will never change. Luo Sure was stunned for a moment. He still wanted to say something, but found that Luo Qingshan had already walked far away, leaving behind a seemingly happy back view. 5 years, my dear daughter, you can finally be happy. When Luo Sure said this, his voice sounded a little choked up. He watched Yin grow up alone. He saw that he was still so kind and outstanding without his parents. And this child, after suffering for 5 years, finally received the love of a father and a mother at the same time. This is great. At the same time at the Do group, Luo Qingchun was wearing a black shirt and dark gray pajamas, as well as a pair of suit pants as she came to the 32nd floor of the Do group. Du Jiusheng was still holding a high-level meeting. It should be related to Su Mu. Daji brought Luo Qingchun to Du Jiusheng's office. Standing in front of the window on the 32nd floor, she was suddenly a bit stunned. There were strange scenes that appeared in front of her eyes. Although she couldn't see them clearly, she couldn't help feeling panic in her heart. This chapter ends. Chapter 34:17. Qingchun, 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 Qingchun. Du Jiusheng called her name 3 times before she came back to her senses. You're done with the meeting? Du Jiusheng gave her the blue folder in his hand. Take a look. Luo Qingchun revealed a look of doubt, but she still quickly took the folder and looked it over. Du Jiusheng was really fast. In just a single morning, he had already stopped all of the Su family's business deals for the first half of the year. Big brother Jiusheng, you're treating Su Mu like this. He won't let this go. Although she had only met Su Mu a few times, she was very clear on what kind of person Su Mu was. Before I held the press conference, he contacted 30% of the villagers of Xinghe village, wanting to overturn the development rights of the Do group. At the same time, he also anonymously exposed the scandals of the Do group. Du Jiusheng narrowed his cold eyes. This is a desperate move. Actually, we all know that if he doesn't get Xinghe village, the Su family will be finished. Luo Qingchun held her chin as she fell in a deep thought. But the things he's doing now have no meaning. With my understanding of him, he isn't someone who would do meaningless things. I also feel this is very strange. Du Jiusheng slightly knit his brows. I feel that something even stranger is that at this time, the U group has decided not to participate at all. Could it be that he's afraid that the matter between you and Su Mu will implicate them? Impossible. Du Jiusheng shook his head as he said, the people in this circle aren't qualified to be afraid of being implicated, because if the Su family group's development plan is stopped because of the Su family group's internal problems, this development plan will become a piece of fat meat. Director Yu has been in the business circle for so many years, it's impossible for him to stand by and watch because he's afraid of being implicated. So what does Big Brother Jiusheng think is the reason why the U group chose to avoid it? Luo Qingchun bit her lips and said, there's one more thing that I've been very concerned about. I didn't see the data in this folder before, so I didn't think about it. But after I saw it, I felt very puzzled. Du Jiusheng heard this and gave her a cup of hot coffee. What are you doubting? Without knowing why, Du Jiusheng liked this feeling very much. It was as if a girl had descended from the sky and understood him completely. This kind of tacit understanding made him excited and comfortable. According to the data Big Brother Jiusheng gave me, Su Mu's company has lost half of the company's total income over the years. With such a large and serious loss, can a Star River village really save him? Luo Qingchun knit her brows as she suddenly thought of what Su Mu had said before. Establishing a business district in Xinghe village was the fastest way to recoup their losses. However, for the current Su family group, such a way of recouping their losses was like trying to mend a wall with sand. No matter what, they could not achieve the best results. So, what was Su Mu trying to do? Knock, knock. There was a knock on Du Jiusheng's office door. The one who came in was Du Jiusheng's assistant Ji. He placed a picture of Yu Can and Su Mu drinking at the bar on the table and said, Boss, I feel that things aren't good. The Yu family wants to work with the Su family. Chapter 34:18. Du Jiusheng said, there's no need to fear them working together. But the strange thing is that since the Yu family decided to help Su Mu, why didn't they participate in the development this time? Luo Qingchun fell in a deep thought when she heard this. Du Jiusheng's doubts were the same as hers. This matter wasn't that simple. At the same time, in the Yu family manner, Yu King told her father Yu Rong everything, and Yu Rong agreed to Su Mu's request to lend him the underground ice cellar. There are 3 reasons. First, he only had a single precious daughter, and he had watched her love for Du Jiusheng without any regrets. But he never thought that Du Jiusheng wouldn't be moved at all and would be so cruel to his daughter. As a father, he definitely wouldn't allow his daughter to be bullied like this. Second, since the underground ice cellar had been discovered, it proved that Sumu knew about his secret stash of explosives. Although he didn't know how he heard this news, since it was already known, he couldn't reject it. Not to mention that with a bit of understanding of Sumu, he knew that he was a person who would do anything to achieve his goals. Third, the Su group was on the verge of bankruptcy. Whether he helped Sumu or not, it was impossible for him to be one of the three business giants. If Sumu could take care of Du Jiusheng this time, wouldn't it be killing two birds with one stone? Wouldn't she be the fisherman? Dad, you can consider her father in a spoiled voice. Did I cause trouble for the family this time? Silly girl, how could you cause trouble for the family? Yu Rong patted her head and said, as long as you're wronged, it's worth it if father points his gun at anyone. His daughter was very pure. It wasn't as bad as telling her this. Not only could he benefit from this, he could also improve the relationship between him and his daughter. So why not? Thank you, Dad. You can can through herself into Yu Rong's embrace. Dad really is good. Actually, how could you cannot know this? She knew better than anyone how serious this matter was. But her thoughts were a bit more simple. She just wanted to take revenge on Du Jiusheng. She wanted him to beg her with an anxious look. On the other side, the Su family was borrowing the Yu family's underground ice cellar. Young master, everything is ready. De Zhuang's voice trembled slightly, but it wasn't on purpose. It was because the temperature here was too low. Although he was wearing a down jacket and the door was still open, he could still feel the bone-chilling cold and shivered. Yes, Sumu nodded and said, I'll confirm it one last time. That man should have entered the hospital. Sumu was a smart man, but he was smart to the point of being conceited. This kind of conceit was different from the conceit of ordinary people. He was a destroyer. There used to be three giant business groups in City A. They competed with each other, but restrained each other at the same time, so that no matter where the business case was, there was no scene of one company dominating. How should he describe it? No matter where you were, you would definitely see a KFC within 500 meters of McDonald's. This was because they could only develop together through business. But now, he had become the first person to leave. He couldn't accept it. In Su Mu's view of the world, if he was done for, he would never let the other two families have an easy time. This time, on the surface, he wanted to snatch the Star River village, but in reality, he wanted to perish together with the Yudu family. Come. Chapter 34:19. As for how to die together, he had already thought of it in his heart, and all his plans were being carried out. At the same time, in the hospital. When Luo Shi arrived at the hospital, Nian and was texting Du Jiusheng on his phone. Compared to Luo Qingshun, this child was more attached to his father. Thinking about it, at least he had been with Luo Qingshun 1,000 years ago. Even if it was for a short period of time, at least they were together. But Du Jiusheng was different. For Nian, Du Jiusheng was strange, but this strangeness made him yearn and look forward to it. He wanted to become a man like Du Jiusheng. He wanted to be like his father, always protecting the most important person in his life. Wait here for grandfather. Grandfather will go and get discharged. Luo Shi patted his head and said, come back to the village with grandfather tonight. In these 5 years, Nian almost never left his side. Now that he had suddenly left for this long, this old man really wasn't used to it. So when Luo Qingshun called to have him pick up Nian, his heart was filled with joy. Understood, grandfather. Nian nodded in a sensible manner. I'll wait here for you. Luo Shi would never know that his departure would ignite the fuse of the war between the three families. Sumu sent someone disguised as a doctor to take Nian away with a tranquilizer gun. At this time, a city's largest Golden Triangle area was in the final stage of the auction. In this stage, the Yu groups Yu Rong and the Su groups Su Mu were both present, but they didn't say anything during the auction. Although Du Jiusheng felt it was strange, he never thought that they didn't say anything. One wanted the three of them to collapse, and the other wanted to reap the benefits. Until Luo Qingshun received a call from Luo Shi. Dad, I have something important to do here, Nian is gone. Luo Qingqian's expression suddenly changed. She felt her heart skip a beat, and she immediately stood up to walk out of the auction hall. What did you say? Why is he gone? Isn't he in a hospital? Luo Qingqian felt very flustered and uneasy. Through the French window, she saw the white snowflakes flying over City A. It was actually snowing. I've already asked the medical staff to check the surveillance video. A man in a white coat took Nianin away, but it's confirmed that he's not a doctor from the hospital. Luo Shi's voice instantly sounded a bit old. With a slightly choked voice, he said, "What should I do? What should I do? It's all my fault. I didn't take good care of Nianin." "Dad, don't worry. That proves that Nianin was taken away with a purpose." Luo Qingqian frowned. And with a purpose, there were so many people in the hospital. Even if someone was randomly taken away from the VIP ward, they shouldn't have taken Nianin away. After all, Nianin was someone who was about to be discharged from the hospital. It was really inconvenient to take him away. Moreover, that person brought an anesthetic needle. He must have come prepared. So far, Luo Shi hadn't received any blackmail calls, which meant that the other party wasn't here for money. Nian had been living in Xinghe village for the past 5 years since he was born. It was impossible for him to have offended anyone who would make such an elaborate kidnapping plan. Then, eliminating all the impossibilities, the only thing left was the truth. The other party was targeting Nian, and because of Du Jiusheng. Calm. Chapter 3420. This series of speculations only lasted for a few seconds in Luo Qingqian's mind before she immediately said, "Dad, you go to Xinghe village first. I'll take care of the rest." "Io, what can you take care of?" Luo Shi said in an anxious voice. "I feel that they won't go far. How about I go nearby?" "Don't be silly." Luo Qingqian tightly knit her brows. According to the development of the situation, the other side must have come prepared. Moreover, this person is very clear on the relationship between Big Brother Jiusheng and Yin, and then according to the rules, other than you can, there was only Su Mu. It was impossible for a man to walk on the street with a child, so he would definitely drive. After imprisoning Yin in somewhere, he would call Du Jiusheng. Although Luo Qingqian wasn't certain if it was Su Mu or can, she was at least 99% certain that it was one of them. Then I go back first. I'll have the hospital send me the surveillance footage. I think there will be some clues. Luo Qingqian said, "Big Brother Jiusheng is bidding for the Golden Triangle land. Don't disturb him for now." Actually, she wasn't willing to disturb Du Jiusheng not because of the Golden Triangle land, but rather because her heart was becoming more and more unsettled. She felt that this world or this story would be forcefully ended at a certain point in time. At least before that, she didn't plan on involving Du Jiusheng. At this moment, the ending was like a movie as it flashed in front of her eyes. She was afraid. So if she could save Nian and with her own abilities, she hoped that Du Jiusheng wouldn't participate at all in the VIP lounge. Luo Qingqian used her identity as Du Jiusheng's wife to get the surveillance footage of the hospital as quickly as possible. The last scene of Nian was in the parking lot of the East Gate, and he was taken into a black van. She used the highest resolution to look at the license plate, but she found that it was a fake license plate. In the next 10 minutes, she began to investigate the properties of the U Group and the Su Group. Because both families were worth hundreds of millions, their properties and real estate were more than single digits. However, after a series of elimination methods, Luo Qingqian discovered that the legal owner of the ice house in the Yuezhi Group was not Yuerong, but Can. This made her quite concerned. It was normal for Yuerong to give Can real estate, but it was not normal for him to give her an underground ice cellar. Moreover, other than this ice house, Can didn't have any real estate under her name. Luo Qingqian frowned. Just as she was about to hack into the surveillance cameras around the underground ice cellar, Pika, Master's wife's actions will not only be discovered by the mechanism, but Master will also find out very soon. Alright, she also had a robot called Pikachu. So, can you help me get the surveillance footage of the road leading to the underground ice cellar? Pika. Of course, Pikachu would be able to do that. Furthermore, he would be able to lock onto the target vehicle for his mistress, the black van. At this moment, Luo Qingqian suddenly sighed at the robot's thinking ability. At the same time, She also sighed at the genius who created it. Calm. Chapter 34:21. Ding, 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 ding. Positioning successful. 300 meters away from Donglin village, the surveillance camera has captured the black van. Let me see the picture. The next second, Pikachu quickly sent the picture to her phone. It was indeed the van that had taken Yin and away from the hospital. Donglin village. That place was where the U group had bought the underground ice cellar 2 years ago. They had brought Yin in here, but what was their goal in doing this? Luo Qingshan knit her brows and turned off the computer. She put on a jacket and headed downstairs to the garage. There was something that she felt was strange about. If Su Mu had taken Yin and if it was for the development of Xinghe village, then it should have changed now. Because since he had kidnapped Yin, he would have told Du Jiusheng as soon as possible. He would have Du Jiusheng give up on auctioning the land in the Golden Triangle to threaten her. But he didn't do this. Why? Why did he do this? What was this perverted man thinking? In an instant, Luo Qingshan stepped on the gas pedal and flew off in the direction of Donglin village. In an underground ice cellar that was filled with military equipment and powerful C4 bombs, a man named Xiao Xiong threw Yin into the ground and turned on his phone. His lips curled into a cold smile as he said, "Boss, the mission has been completed." Su Mu's excited voice came from the other side. "Very good. Your money has been transferred to your account. Now you just need to put down the camera and close the door to the ice cellar. Then you can leave. The boss has already been placed." Xiao Xiong gave a cold laugh as his eyes were filled with killing intent. He had been an assassin for many years, and this was his first time seeing such an exciting murder scene. It was all thanks to that man named Su Mu who thought of this. As soon as his voice fell, he hung up and closed the door to the ice cellar, causing the entire ice cellar to fall into darkness. Nian was lying on the C4 bomb with his hands turning red from the cold. Because the anesthesia hadn't worn off yet, he wasn't awake yet. He could only call out in a daze, "Father Jiusheng. Father Jiusheng." At the same time, at the auction in the Golden Triangle, Du Jiusheng finally won this land for 3 million USD. This price was quite good because the Su and Yu families would have raised the price, but they didn't do that today. Du Jiusheng's face was dark. He didn't feel any joy from winning the land in the Golden Triangle. Because Luo Qingshan, who had been sitting beside him, had been gone for half an hour, and he couldn't reach her. The next second, Su Mu put his hands into his pockets, and a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth as he said, "Manager Du, you should be very happy to buy the land in the Golden Triangle at such a good price." Du Jiusheng didn't say anything, and Yu can turn to the side. Although Du Jiusheng treated her like this, when she stood on the opposite side, she still felt very uncomfortable. Perhaps this was true love. Once upon a time, he had truly loved her. Reporters, today I will announce the most exciting news in history. It is related to my Su group, the Yu group, and the Du group's unspeakable secrets. When Su Mu said this, Yukin Kan's expression changed. She felt that something was wrong, but she couldn't tell what it was. Calm. Chapter 34:22. Yukin Kan's heart skipped a beat as he felt a bit panicked. Su Mu's lips curled into a cold smile. "I don't think it's clear to use words. Everyone, please look at the big screen." At that moment, the video on the big screen began to talk about the unspeakable secrets of the Yu family over the past few years. Everyone present, including Yukin Kan, sucked in a breath of cold air. Whispers instantly spread throughout the venue. God, what is this situation? The Yu family isn't just in the business world. They're also in the arms industry. That's against the law. What is Su Mu doing? Could it be that the Yu group offended him? Who knows? I heard that Big Brother Tang Studio received an anonymous email yesterday, and the content was too real. It seemed to say that the Su group's internal deficit was very serious, and it was a complete mess. God, is it this terrifying? It seems like the 3 pillars of a city's business world are about to collapse. Yu Rong, sitting under the stage, didn't say a word. He just held his heart. His face was a little pale. He thought that the Dusu group and Su group would be finished this time, and he would become the biggest winner of this business circle war as a fisherman who reaped the benefits without doing anything. But he never thought that before he could even sit down, the entire U group would be pushed into an abyss of fire. In the end, he had underestimated Su-mu. He thought that by lending him the warehouse, he could use him to get rid of the Du group, but he never thought that other than eliminating Du Jiusheng, his real goal was also to deal with him. Director Su, your video hasn't been professionally verified. Perhaps you edited it? Yurong tried his best to not reveal any panic on his face as he slowly stood up. I have the right to doubt the authenticity of this video. My U group will hand this matter over to the lawyer. Ha ha ha. Su-mu heard this and laughed into the sky. Director you really are deceiving yourself. You just gave me the key to the ice house yesterday. Could it be that you've forgotten? At this moment, everyone present was stunned once again, and the voices of the onlookers were heard once again. What does this mean? Is there a rebellion? I feel that it should be. Originally, Su-mu wanted to work with Yurong-ha, but he didn't expect Yurong-ha to reveal the hidden side of the U group. Why? I feel that this isn't good for the Su group. Indeed, there's no benefit at all. Su-mu seemed to have heard the discussion of the gossiping reporters. A cold light flashed in his deep dark eyes, and the corners of his mouth curved into an extremely deep and sinister smile. But I have the mentality of a passerby. If I'm not good, then I can't bear to see others doing well. Yurong's face turned red in an instant. She naturally hadn't expected that Su-mu would betray her in such a short time. Tisk. Su-mu saw that Yurong was about to say something, so he interrupted her and said, CEO Yu, why are you pretending to be a good person? Wasn't it you who sent the anonymous email to Brother Tang's studio last night? At that very moment, everyone revealed an expression of disbelief. This circle was indeed complicated. Other than playing the good cop, there was only one other thing left. Chapter 34:23. Since Su-mu exposed the U group, Du Jiusheng didn't say a word because his mind wasn't here at all. He had already called Luo Qingshan close to 10 times, but he couldn't get through. He also called Nianen, but the result was the same. Nianen didn't reply to him half an hour ago, so Du Jiusheng felt that this wasn't a coincidence. The one who did this should be the person standing on stage, Su-mu. Su-mu's smile was very enchanting at that moment. He had a sinister smile as his eyes fell onto Du Jiusheng. Based on Director Du's expression, you should have noticed something. Du Jiusheng narrowed his cold eyes, and his heart jumped to his throat. But his expression was very calm, because once he panicked, he would have lost before the fight even began. Su-mu, what do you want to do? Ha 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 ha. Su-mu gave a laugh that was like a laugh of ridicule to everyone. Do you know? I envy you very much. Or perhaps I shouldn't say, I'm not convinced. Both of us are clearly in a high and cold place, but you always have a little more than me. Du Jiusheng didn't respond to Su-mu, and Su-mu continued in an excited voice. I don't like you can, but I can't allow her to choose you between you and me. This really is too shameful for me. So at the final moment, I obtained her help and could deal with her. So you can help you and became a tool for you to use. Du Jiusheng gave a cold snort. Are you even worthy of being a person? Some people were hateful on the outside, while some people were hateful on the inside. Su-mu was this kind of person. No, he wasn't worthy of being a person in Du Jiusheng's eyes. Zez. Su-mu shook his head. Director Du, do you think that you wrong and you can are kind people? Since everyone is the same, why do you need to insult them? But at least I'm open-minded and don't care. Su-mu didn't wait for Du Jiusheng's response as he said to himself, I seem to have paused the movie and forgot to finish it. In an instant, everyone's attention was once again focused on the big screen. This was a huge underground ice cellar. There was some military equipment and a few explosives inside. In the next second, the image stopped. A red ESC button appeared in the upper right corner, and the original recording instantly turned into a live broadcast. The camera zoomed in. There was a little boy lying on top of a C4 bomb that was covered in frost. He seemed to be unconscious. His little hands were moving slightly, and his mouth was saying something. Du Jiusheng, actually, I'm not that angry about you choosing you. Su-mu's lips curled into a perverted smile as she looked at him, and said, "I'm jealous of you because we're both unmarried people. Why do you have a 5-year-old child all of a sudden? And this child is so smart, so cute, so enviable." Nian and Du Jiusheng took a deep breath. His eyes scattered as they filled with fear. In Su Mu's eyes, such an expression was the most refreshing expression in the world, because he could see the despair in Du Jiusheng's eyes. This was his first time seeing Du Jiusheng reveal such a look of despair. So satisfying. It really was satisfying. Chapter 34:24. Du Jiusheng didn't hesitate at all as he charged out of the venue to the underground garage. He used his phone to open the smart robot system, Pikachu. "I had you follow Qingchen. Where is she?" Pikachu. "Master, you're finally here." Master's wife is in East Forest Village number 108. The U Group's private ice cellar and the young master is locked inside. "I know." Du Jiusheng tightly held the steering wheel as a cold glow appeared in his eyes as he said to Pikachu, "Quickly locate her, and then I'm going at full speed." As soon as his voice fell, there was the sound of a motor as Du Jiusheng's gray Rolls-Royce charged out of the B2 parking lot. Because of the time, there wasn't much traffic on the road, but he was driving very fast, and there were many photos taken of him breaking the rules. He did this to reach East Forest Village as quickly as possible and to attract the attention of the police on duty. This was because he didn't have time to call the police and explain the situation to the police. If he wanted them to help him, speeding was the best method right now. As expected, in less than 5 minutes, there were sirens that sounded behind Du Jiusheng. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. He just slightly knit his brows as his hands holding the steering wheel were covered in cold sweat. At the same time, in the U Group's underground ice cellar, when Luo Qingchen arrived, the van had just left the ice cellar. She wanted to stop and take him hostage, but she found that it was already too late. The robot Pikachu that had been online had suddenly gone offline, so Luo Qingchen didn't even have a chance to ask where the intersection was. But she didn't know that the tablet would automatically turn on and that familiar voice would come from it. Pikachu, now automatically entering internet mode. "Qingchen." Du Jiusheng's voice came from the tablet. Luo Qingchen felt her nose turn sour as tears almost came out. In the previous world, if it was her or the male lead who was in trouble, at least in a situation where they couldn't escape danger, they would think of ways to stall for time. But this time, it was Nian and a 5-year-old child who was unconscious in an ice cellar. According to medical inference, Nian should have reached his limit at this moment. The brain of an unconscious person would not be able to make accurate judgments and use its bodily functions to protect itself. In other words, a sober person in an ice cellar would definitely squat in a corner and wrap their arms around themselves to obtain more warmth. However, the same couldn't be said for an unconscious person. Therefore, he would be able to hold on for much less time than a conscious person. "Big brother Jiusheng, don't panic. I've already gotten the map of the U Group's ice cellar. I've also gotten the password to the entrance of the ice cellar a minute ago." "Password? Yes. You can told me everything with just a little bit of threat and reward." Actually, Du Jiusheng wasn't threatening her. He was just telling the truth. If it was for the illegal possession of firearms, he would be sentenced at most. However, if it was murder, he would have to pay with his life. Although Yu Rong agreed to lend the underground ice cellar to Su Mu, she didn't know that he would use it to kidnap Du Jiusheng's son. Killing someone in public was something he would never do. So when Du Jiusheng called to ask for the password, he quickly called it back. At this moment, Su Mume's eyes were bloodshot as he was locked up in the detention center. He muttered, Quickly go in and save him. This is a gate to hell. Why don't you go in? Ha 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 ha." Chapter 34:25. For Su Mu, he had thought about this plan for a long time. Initially, he wanted to destroy the entire Star River Village. If he could successfully take over the Star River Village, he would first demolish the messy buildings. However, he would not build any high-rise buildings or commercial centers like he had said. There was only one thing he wanted to do, and that was to turn Xinghe Village into a wasteland that could only be demolished and not rebuilt. After the meteor shower, the value of this village would decrease. In Su Mu's world, destroying this village was a gift to the village because even without him, this village would become worse and worse. He was a helper, not a destroyer. Qingshun, don't be in a rush. You're in the southeast area C right now. The main door is 50 meters ahead. Du Jiusheng looked at his phone as he said, Pikachu will guide you. Don't worry. I'm not worried about what will happen to me. Luo Qingshan bit her lip and said, I'm afraid that Nianen can't hold on for long. Since it was an ice cellar, the temperature would definitely be below zero. Nianen couldn't resist this kind of cold no matter how many layers she wore. I know. I'll be there right now. Du Jiusheng stepped on the accelerator. Don't run around before that. Believe me, I will definitely save Nian. And hearing Du Jiusheng's voice, Luo Qingshan's heart gradually calmed down. She quickly arrived in Area C and saw the main door Du Jiusheng mentioned. Big brother Jiusheng, I found the door. You'll tell me the password. 331023. Du Jiusheng took a deep breath and said, Qingshan, how about you wait for me? I'll be there soon. Without knowing why. Even if you roam relaxed, Yukikin panicked, and he got the password to the ice cellar. Wasn't everything developing too smoothly? Big brother Jiusheng, I'll go. Luo Qingshan took a deep breath and said, It's like there are thousands of ants in my heart. I can't just stand there and wait for you. I know. Du Jiusheng tightly knit his brows. Try to see if you can open it with the password first. There's no need to try. In the next second, a gust of cold wind blew against her face. Luo Qingshan's brows slightly wrinkled. I've already opened it. Luo Qingshan turned on the flashlight and walked in the direction of the ice house. She could feel a sense of suffocation the moment she walked into the ice cellar. The coldness from her feet was bone-piercing. And Nianen had been here for a long time. Nianen, Luo Qingshan shouted twice. Before Nianen could respond, the originally dark ice cellar lit up instantly. Welcome to the underground ice cellar. Su Mu's voice came from all directions. It should have been recorded beforehand. Mistress, this is a high-tech robot. It's on par with me. Not bad, little robot. The robotic voice with the same voice as Su Mu's sounded again, but this time there was a hint of coldness in it. This is my master, the great Lord Su Mu, who has been perfecting your little robot to form a larger artificial intelligence robot. Of course, you don't need to try to find me because it's no use. In the next second, a black light fell from the sky and hit Nianen. It said again, My master wants to play a game with you. Chapter 3426. What do you want to do? Luo Qingshan took a deep breath and said, Don't hurt Nianen. It's not up to me to decide whether to hurt him or not. It's up to you to decide. Thump, 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 thump. In the next second, 10 beams of light descended from the sky, illuminating different corners of the ice cellar. Our master has placed 10 time bombs here. There is a metal box in front of you with the tools to defuse the bombs. From the moment I say start, a bomb will explode every 3 minutes. You should know the power of a C4 bomb. This is a game of wisdom and luck. Good luck. The next second, Luo Qingshan heard the cold mechanical voice. Start. Luo Qingshan ran to the bomb next to Nianen. It showed a countdown of 29 minutes and 40 seconds. In other words, this bomb was the last bomb to explode. Therefore, the first bomb in the 3-minute countdown was the bomb she had to defuse first. Where is it? Luo Qingshan could feel her voice trembling and her breathing was a little rapid. She had to calm down. There was a process for everything. There was a cause and effect. Since it was a time bomb, Su Mu would definitely not place a bomb that couldn't be defused in the first 15 minutes in order to see her nervous and helpless look. Life and death were at stake. The most important thing now was to focus and win this game. Luo Qingshan took off her coat and covered Nianen's body. After making sure that his body temperature was normal, she hurried to find the location of the first bomb. In a blind corner in the southeast, the countdown on the screen showed 2 minutes. The structure of the bomb was very simple. There were only 4 wires leading to the main control. Luo Qingshan couldn't be said to be completely proficient in bombs, but it wasn't like she didn't know anything. She first cut the blue wire, then the yellow wire, then the red wire. At the same time, Pikachu on the tablet was also analyzing the bomb and gave an accurate answer in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Pikachu, the principle of the four-wire bomb. Master's wife didn't cut it wrong. Luo Qingshun breathed a sigh of relief. She quickly got up and walked in another direction. In order to save time, she had already memorized the order of all the bombs that had exploded. When she opened the second bomb, the timer on the screen showed that she had 3.5 minutes left. The remaining half a minute was the time she had left to defuse the previous bomb. But when she flipped open the screen in front of the bomb, her heart skipped a beat. This time, there were a total of 8 lines in 8 different colors. It was twice as difficult as the previous bomb. Luo Qingshun was very clear that it would take more time to defuse this bomb than the previous one. But she had no way out. The pickup truck is conducting a bomb scan. Estimated time of 2 minutes. Before that, Luo Qingshun had already begun to analyze the second bomb. There was a fundamental difference between an 8-wire bomb and a 4-wire bomb, and the way to deal with them was also different. When Pikachu finished scanning the bomb, she had successfully cut off the first 4 lines, and they were all correct. Scanning completed. Accuracy rate, 80%. Wasn't it 100%? No, Master's wife. Luo Qingshun glanced at the time. There was only a minute left. She could still gamble on a 20% probability. End of chapter. Chapter 34:27. After all, she had a certain degree of confidence in the remaining 4 lines. If Pikachu had the same wire as she thought, she could cut it immediately without hesitation. Cut the blue wire last. With a gotcha sound, Luo Qingshun cut the blue line, and the countdown on the screen stopped at 40 seconds. She had finally passed the second level. Next was the third time bomb, which was in the north. Luo Qingshun tried to walk lightly as she approached her. According to her observation, the size of the bombs seemed to be the same. The longer the countdown, the bigger the bomb. Although the size of the bomb didn't completely determine the power of the bomb, in most cases, the bigger the bomb, the more powerful it would be. However, there were some things that Luo Qingshun didn't expect. Actually, she should have thought about it, but she just couldn't accept it. When she opened the screen of the third bomb, she found 16 wires inside. She suddenly understood why the terrifying mechanical voice kept emphasizing that this was a game. In fact, this was a game that led to hell. 4 wires, 8 wires, 16 wires. Then the next one was 32 wires. The 10th one, 2048. How thin were the wires? How many layers were intertwined to form a bomb? Was it possible for such a bomb to exist in this world? The pickup truck is scanning. The estimated time is 3 minutes. I'll leave it to you, Pikachu. Luo Qingshun took a deep breath and walked towards the bomb that Nian was lying on. Because she wasn't sure if it was a heavy mercury bomb, she didn't dare to move Nian's position before she was sure. When she carefully opened the screen of the bomb under Nian, she was completely stunned. Densely packed lines crisscrossed and spread continuously. She might not be able to remove such a bomb even in 3 months, let alone 30 minutes. Luo Qingshun closed her eyes. Waves of horror kept attacking her, but she didn't even have time to think. Because the bomb was counting down, she didn't have time to think. That feeling of helplessness hit her like a cold tide. She felt that her state of mind was about to undergo a huge change. Beep, beep. In the next second, the door to the ice cellar opened, and a beam of light shone into her life. Du Jiusheng stood at the door, and the ice cellar door closed again. Du Jiusheng quickly used the gun beside him to block the door before running in Luo Qingshun's direction. Halfway through, Pikachu's pitiful cries could be heard. Master, come quickly. The bomb is about to explode, Master. Du Jiusheng slightly knit his brows and quickly walked over to the third bomb, cutting 16 lines according to Pikachu's instructions. When the last red thread was cut, the countdown timer stopped at 3 seconds. In an instant, he quickly got up and ran in the direction of Luo Qingshun. Don't be afraid. He gently stroked her head. I'm here. I'm here. Tears came out of her eyes as she said in a trembling voice, What should we do? Big brother Jiusheng, what should we do? Because there are too many secrets of the Yu family in this ice cellar. The door of the ice cellar needs a fingerprint lock to open. Du Jiusheng said with a frown. Stand here and don't move. I'll think of a way to move all the bombs outside. This chapter ends. Chapter 34:28. But there's not enough time. Luo Qingchun bit her lip and said, the bombs here will explode every 3 minutes. I can guess it. Just stand here and don't move. Du Jiusheng tightly held her shoulder. Other than Yin An's bomb that can sense gravity, there's nothing else. But just a bomb on Yin is enough. Luo Qingchun slightly knit her brows. Big brother Jiusheng, I'll listen to you. Believe me. Du Jiusheng placed a deep kiss on her forehead. I will definitely protect you, in Yin, and without knowing why. Hearing Du Jiusheng say this, Luo Qingchun felt even more panicked. There was a familiar feeling that filled her heart that made her suffocate. Big brother Jiusheng. Luo Qingchun grabbed his sleeve and said, other than me and Yin, does that also include you? Du Jiusheng gave a slight nod. I'm assured. I can't bear to part with you. As soon as his voice fell, he quickly stood up and carefully moved the bombs to the door one by one, sinking them into the river on the side. Pung! When Du Jiusheng was moving the 8th bomb, the 4th bomb exploded in the water and the entire ice house shook. Luo Qingchun tightly held Nian and in fear, afraid that the bomb under Nian would activate gravity and explode. But it was a good thing that this giant explosion didn't activate the gravity system, but Nian was awakened. Mommy, don't move. Luo Qingchun quickly said, Nian, be good, don't move. Am I on a bomb? Nian took a deep breath. I seem to have seen this scene when I was sleeping with the fan yesterday. Nian thought it was a nightmare, so I didn't care. It's not Nian's fault. Luo Qingchun tightly knit her brows. Mommy didn't protect you well. Bang! Another huge explosion rang out. This time, it was even louder than the previous one. Nian raised her right hand and placed it on Luo Qingchun's forehead. Mommy, don't knit your brows. I can spend this happy time with Mommy and Daddy Jiusheng. Although it was short, Nian was very happy. Nian, Pong. The explosions came one after another, making it hard for Luo Qingchun to breathe. After Du Jiusheng moved the last bomb, he quickly came to Luo Qingchun's side. There was still 5 minutes left on the bomb under Nian and Qingchun. Listen to me. You have to trust me unconditionally from now on. Du Jiusheng looked at her and said, Can you do this? Du Jiusheng's head was covered in blood. It should be because he didn't leave in time when the bomb exploded. Luo Qingchun's head. Jio's head is this? Luo Qingchun felt like her words were stuck in her throat, but she couldn't say them. Compared to yes, she wanted to say no more. I don't know. Qingchun. Du Jiusheng looked at her eyes that were filled with tears. The giant explosion hit my head, and there was a strange scene that flashed in front of my eyes. Then there were more and more of these scenes that became clearer. Big brother Jiusheng. I was in a taxi, and you reached out your hand to me under the moonlight. The bright moonlight made you look good. End of this chapter. Chapter 34:29. She really was beautiful at that time. So beautiful that she couldn't be described. So beautiful that it made people suffocate. His heart was beating very fast at that time, like it didn't want to die. Therefore, even if he didn't have any memories, he didn't hesitate to hold her hand and let her take him away because her hand was very warm. Daddy Jiusheng. Nian isn't afraid. Nian didn't dare move. She just grabbed his finger and said, I know that you can't take me away. We can definitely take you away. Du Jiusheng's eyes had never turned red before, but seeing Nian's innocent and sensible eyes, his eyes couldn't help turning red. He continued, You are Daddy's pride. No matter where you are, Nian will always be excellent. Big brother Jiusheng, take Mommy away. Nian's nose turned sour as tears came down. Nian isn't afraid. Du Jiusheng took a deep breath. I'll count to 3 and you'll stand up when I tell you to. Big brother Jiusheng. Believe me. Du Jiusheng looked at Luo Qingchun and said, Then take Nian and run as fast as you can. I don't want to. Luo Qingchun was certain that Du Jiusheng wanted to do something. she definitely wouldn't agree to it. Nian doesn't want it either. Du Jiusheng took off his suit and said, I'm wearing a special explosion-proof suit. You've already seen the power of the bomb. It isn't that strong. If you leave safely, I will run to the far north and live. Luo Qingxuan bit her lip and wanted to refuse, but Du Jiusheng said again, You can't take away Nian An's right to live. We are no longer responsible parents. I know. After a while, Luo Qingxuan bit her lip and said, I promise you, I will definitely take Nian out. She shouldn't be this childish. She should believe in Du Jiusheng. She shouldn't decide Nian An's life on her own. Good girl. When I passed by here, I found a new shop selling the puffs that Nian liked last time. When we go back, we'll bring Nian in there, okay? Wow, woo. Daddy Jiusheng. Nian doesn't want to leave you. Nian didn't seem to hear Du Jiusheng's words at all and kept crying. Nian is a big child. You can't be this insensible. Du Jiusheng gently hugged him. You have to help Dad take care of Mom. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately shouted, 1, 2, 3. Then, he quickly carried Nian and placed one foot on the bomb while the other hand supported the ground to maintain the gravitational balance. Du Jiusheng shouted, Quickly go, quickly go. At this time, the countdown timer on the screen was less than 20 seconds. Luo Qingxuan felt her mind go blank, and she couldn't think at all. She could only carry Nian and rush out of the door. Actually, she was planning on letting go of Nian and Hao and going in to find Du Jiusheng no matter what. But when she stepped out of the ice cellar, the door behind her closed with a pong sound. It was unknown what method Du Jiusheng used, but he had removed the gun that was stuck in the door. Du Jiusheng. Du Jiusheng. Luo Qingxuan's trembling hands wanted to type again when her phone rang. Qingxuan, don't come in. Du Jiusheng's long lashes trembled as he spoke into the phone with a gentle look. I've been thinking about something on the way here. If there really was a previous life, I definitely loved you very much. Don't take Daddy Jiusheng away. Woo. I beg you, don't take Daddy Jiusheng away. I beg you. Wah. Don't take my daddy away. Nian cried hysterically. The flickering moon glass fan in his pocket seemed to have foretold their end. Du Jiusheng slowly closed his eyes and muttered something that even he had never heard before. Crossing the path of reincarnation, Jiusheng, Jun, and Peng, there was a deafening explosion that filled the sky. Do you know? I feel that Nian An's words are the most torturous. He is still a child in the end. This chapter ends. Chapter 34:30. When all the dust fell to the ground, she could no longer hear the deafening sound of the explosion. Nian cried hysterically as if she was humbly begging the heavens. I beg you, don't take Father away, again and again. What kind of feeling was that? She stood outside the door and felt the shock of the explosion. She felt the moment of life and death. She felt the tragedy play out again and again. Other than despair, what did she have left? Had she ever thought of this ending? Yes, she had. All the special planes that experienced Du Jiusheng, didn't they all end like this? But why did she still feel so sad? Why did he feel as if his heart had been ruthlessly stabbed with a knife, and the pain was surging through all the nerves in his body? Congratulations to the host for breaking into the SS grade world. The host has obtained the privilege of a Lord God, allowing you to travel at any time. When a system appeared, she didn't feel any joy at all. Every time, in this special plane, it was like there was a powerful force suppressing her system. It should be the so-called Lord God. She took a deep breath, and in that instant, the red spider lily appeared on her forehead. Even her pupils were suffused with a deep red glow. Nian and Mommy needs to go somewhere to take care of something. Luo Qingxuan squatted down to look at him. Can you wait here for Grandfather? Mommy, I also want to go. The moon glass fan in Nian An's pocket glowed with a faint light, as if it was announcing another separation. Relax. Luo Qingxuan patted Nian An's head. Big brother Jiusheng definitely doesn't want Nian An to grow up alone. Mommy will be by Nian An's side, hiding from all the time with you. Mommy. Nian An tightly held Luo Qingxuan's hand. not letting go until Luo sure came to take him away. The first place Luo Qingshun wanted to go was the Yu family's villa. Du Jiusheng's death was half the responsibility of the Yu family. Yu Rong and Yu Qingqian had been grounded for possessing firearms, so the villa was surrounded by police. Luo Qingshun gently closed her eyes, and the exquisite ring on her ring finger emitted a golden light. As expected, once the Lord God's power was unable to suppress the system, he would not be able to suppress her Esper ability. But why was that? Why did she recover her powers as long as Du Jiusheng left this world? This wasn't the first time this matter had happened. What was the connection between this special plane and the Master Gods? What was the connection between Du Jiusheng and the Master Gods? Luo Qingxin's mind seemed to be intertwined with thousands of lines. No matter what the problem was, it seemed to be not smooth. However, that was not what she needed to do the most right now. Yu family, Su family. Those who harmed them, she would not let a single one of them off. Luo Qingxin's cold eyes narrowed and directly teleported to the balcony outside the master bedroom of the Yu family. At this moment, Yu Rong and Yu Can were whispering to each other. "Dad, what should we do now? Was it a serious crime to possess firearms? Also, why did Dad write my name on the list of everyone in the ice house? Dad can't do anything about it. You also know how many people are watching our Yu family. If the ice house was under Dad's name, it would have been easy for people to find it." Yu Rong tightly knit her brows, but I never thought that Su Mu would play us this time. Chapter 34-31. Dad, you have to save him. I don't want to go to jail. Yu Can's tears were about to fall down. If she knew this would happen, she wouldn't have agreed to Su Mu's request, even if she was beaten to death. The next second, she seemed to have suddenly thought of something and said, What if something happens to that little boy? Are we going to be executed? You don't need to worry. This matter isn't related to us. Yu Rong comforted her, not to mention that I just received news that the little boy is fine, but Du Jiusheng. What happened to Jiusheng? Yu Can's heart skipped a beat. After all, this was the man she had admired for so many years. She still cared about him. It was just that this concern couldn't be compared to her Yu clan and her life. He's dead. Yu Rong narrowed his eyes and said, I could be considered lucky. We've been fighting for so many years, but he died first. What? He's dead? Yu Can was in disbelief, as she couldn't help taking a step back. That's right. Yu Rong pushed up his golden-framed glasses and said, Su Mu has done a good thing. After all, even if the Yu family isn't as good as before, as long as the two of us are alive, there will be a way to bring glory to the Yu group. I think you don't have a chance. After that, Luo Qingshun walked into the room step by step from the balcony, with eyes filled with ice-cold, killing intent. You, why are you here? Yu Can looked over Luo Qingshun and said, How did you come up? Yu Rong had seen the world, so when Luo Qingshun appeared, he could vaguely feel the killing intent around them. He said in a small voice, Can quickly call for help. This girl is a bit strange. Pung pung. There were two sounds of wind hitting each other. Luo Qingshun raised her right hand and used the exquisite ring to seal the room. I said it before, you don't have a chance. She narrowed her cold eyes and took out the Phoenix dance sword from her storage space, attacking in Yu Rong's direction. Blood was sealed at the side of the throat, 3 feet of blood spurting out. One saber strike was enough to kill. Can you screamed. Her face turned pale, and she fell back while murmuring, Help! Help! Don't kill me! Don't kill me! Just a second ago, her father had fallen in front of her. At this moment, standing in front of her, Luo Qingshun was like a devil. She had an incomparably strange ability, so much so that if she wanted to kill her, it would be as simple as stepping on an ant. I didn't want to kill Jiusheng. I really didn't want to kill him. Yu Can curled up in the corner and desperately shook her head. Really? Believe me. Is it important? Luo Qingshun gave a cold snort. We didn't want to kill Big Brother Jiusheng, but didn't you want to kill Nyan and Yu Can was speechless. She didn't know what to say because Luo Qingshun was right. Although she didn't want to kill Du Jiusheng, she didn't want to kill their son. Because if that little boy didn't appear, perhaps there would still be a chance between her and Du Jiusheng. So she hated Nian and she wanted him to disappear from this world forever. She wanted him to die. This chapter ends. Chapter 34-32. The Yu family. I only want your 2 lives. After that, Luo Qingqian's cold voice slowly sounded goodbye. The phoenix dance sword cut Yu Kan's throat, and the blood that spurted out from her artery made her gasp for breath before falling to the ground. The air was filled with the smell of blood, but this was just the beginning on the road of revenge. 3 hours later, she came to the mental health center with a black plastic bag. She heard that Su Mu pretended to have dual personality and even escaped the machine's detection, coming to the hospital from the detention center. The funny thing was, he was in a VIP ward. Luo Qingqian used teleportation to arrive at the door, and the cameras around her made Z sounds. When she walked in, she turned on the light. Su Mu was leaning on the sofa, reading the latest business newspaper, and the cover was Du Jiusheng. Nurse, help me buy another bottle of champagne. Today really is a happy day. He didn't look up when he said this, and when he didn't receive a response, he finally looked up. But the one standing in front of him wasn't a nurse, but rather Luo Qingqian, who was holding a large black plastic bag. I think that very soon, you won't feel happy. Luo Qingqian narrowed her cold eyes and let go of the black plastic bag in her hand. Everyone thinks that the golden bachelor Su Mu doesn't have a girlfriend or a lover, but he has been secretly married for 3 years. It should be a shotgun marriage because his daughter is 3 years old this year. You. Su Mu trembled as his eyes filled with fear. How do you know? Is it important? Luo Qingqian gave a cold laugh. The important thing is that I've already sent them to hell. In the next second, she shook the black plastic bag hard. In addition to Su Ning's photo, there was also a series of human organs. There are a total of 8 lives in your family, and I've taken them all for you. You? What did you say? Su Mu didn't dare believe that Luo Qingqian could kill all these people in such a short period of time. But when he saw her take out a sword like magic, he had to believe it even if he didn't want to. You're the 9th one. Go and reunite with your wife. As soon as she finished speaking, she took out a blood-stained bracelet from her pocket and threw it to Su Mu. Your daughter was still calling your name before she died, hoping that you would save her. Unfortunately, you should have been drinking red wine in this room at that time, feeling extremely happy. Luo Qingqian. Su Mu gritted her teeth and roared. I'm going to kill you. Hiss. The sound of the phoenix dance, sword piercing through flesh, could be heard. She was ready to pierce his heart as she sneered. Goodbye. It was snowing heavily in City A. When she returned to Xinghe village, it was already midnight. Nian had been standing at the door waiting for her. His hands and feet were red from the cold, but he didn't leave at all. Because he had a premonition, it was precisely because of this premonition that he was even more afraid. He was afraid that if this world took away his father, it would also take his mother away. Nian, why don't you go to sleep first? When mother comes back, grandfather will go to your room and call you. Luo sure looked at Nian's determined eyes and couldn't help feeling distressed. In the end, he was still a child, but the things he had to bear were much more than the average child. But the warmth and affection he received was less than 1,000th of what the average child received. This chapter ends. Chapter 34-33. I don't want to. Nian gave a choked voice as he shook his head. I want to wait here for Mommy to come back. She promised me that she would definitely come back. No matter how many changes he saw in the future, he didn't believe a single one. He just believed that Luo Qingqian would come back, that the mother who said she would spend all her time with him would come back. AI. Luo sure gave a deep sigh. He knew that Nian was this persistent because he saw the future through that fan. Could it be that Qingqian? Actually, Luo sure didn't dare think about it, since she was the daughter he had pampered since she was young. Grandfather, isn't that Mommy? Nian rushed forward to hug Luo Qingqian. Mommy, I knew you would come back. I knew you wouldn't lie to Nian, and strength completely collapsed when he saw Luo Qingqian. That youth who didn't fear the danger of a car driving at him was actually crying like a child at this moment. Actually, he was a child to begin with. Luo Qingqian took a deep breath before patting her head. Nian, don't cry. Mommy is back. We'll stay in Xingyi Village from now on and build a fantasy world for him, all right? As long as I can be with Mommy. Nian can go anywhere. The stars were very bright at night. Luo Qingshun slowly looked up at the bright moonlight and couldn't help crying. 6 years ago, when she first saw him, the moonlight in the sky was very beautiful. But today it was a bit desolate. The next day there was a giant shock in the business circle. But it wasn't strange because the 3 richest people in the city's business circle were all dead. Other than Du Jiusheng, Yu Rong, Yu Cancan, and Su Mu's deaths were very strange. All the cameras in the Yu family's house and the mental hospital were destroyed at the same time. Moreover, the weapon that killed them seemed to be a long sword. Because of the seriousness of this matter, the police immediately began investigating. Luo Qingshun saw Su Muyin's wife and illegitimate daughter on TV, but in the end, she couldn't do it. Even if she wished for them to die, they were still 2 innocent people. She did not drag the rest of the Su family into this. The reason why she said that was to make Su Mu feel hopeless. In fact, she had succeeded in making him feel despair, because when his body was found by the police the next day, his eyes were still open. That was enough. She didn't need those unnecessary lives. After all, that wouldn't erase the hatred in her heart. The police came to Xingyi Village to investigate for a few days, but in the end, they returned empty-handed. Because the murder weapon was never found, this bizarre murder case remained unsolved for a whole year. However, during this 1 year, the Star River Village had already been built. Luo Qingshun used Du Jiusheng's blueprint and added in her own creativity, turning it into a dream world that was a combination of a hot spring, an amusement park, and a hotel. Nian went to see Du Jiusheng with her every year, but Nian couldn't stop crying each time. His heart was probably filled with hatred as well. He hated God for taking his father away. As for her, she would only stand in front of his tombstone and cry silently. This life was warm for her, but was also torturous, because without him, she wanted to leave, but because of Nian, she had to stay. Because she wasn't willing to let Nian be alone, he was too lonely. Perhaps this was the so-called responsibility. End. Chapter 34:34. If I am lucky in this life, I can hug you and grow old with you. If this is a dream, I am willing to leave first in exchange for your peace. Du Jiusheng, when we first met, you stood in front of me under the moonlight. Those clear as water eyes had a faint ripple that made the pain that should have been there disappear. What kind of feeling was that? I couldn't help smiling when I thought about it later. That night, I tried my best to hide the strong beating of my heart, afraid that you would hear it. Actually, even if I lost my memories, I knew that I didn't belong to Xingyi Village, but I wanted to go. That place was like a mysterious black hole that kept pulling me forward, even if I didn't know anything about it. But as long as she was there, I was willing to go. She held my hand, and it was very warm. She had a faint smile on her face and a determined look on her face. When someone asked me who I was, she would say without any hesitation, "This is my boyfriend." Such simple words, but they could always make the men who adored her so angry that their faces and ears turned red. I strangely liked this feeling the most. It was like I didn't need to say anything, and she completely belonged to me. Other people didn't have a chance at all. Xingyi Village was unfamiliar, but the people there were very warm. It should be because I was a person that was good at everything. In a short period of time, I became the person that everyone needed. The villagers of Xingyi Village all called me Xiao Sheng, and I liked being called this. It was like they were my family. Her father was very good to me, always liking to have a drink with me under the stars of Xingyi Village after dinner. Her father was an honest person, always reminding me from time to time, letting me know that I was only here for a short period of time and that I didn't belong here. I always told him that I wanted to stay where Qingshun was. In spring, we like to go to the mountains to watch the sunrise. In summer, we like to play by the sea. In fall, we like to go to the sea of flowers to watch the falling leaves. In winter, we like to stay at home and watch the 8 o'clock TV series. My father always felt that this place was drowning out my talent or drowning out everything that I had. But it wasn't like this. I liked staying here. It was like this was where I belonged and I wanted to stay here forever. I confessed to her, proposed to her, married her, and asked her to be with me forever. I thought our ending would be wonderful, but I never thought that in this world, plans can never keep up with changes. I never thought that one turn of my life would become 5 years of separation. However, after I recover my memories, I actually forgot everything that had happened in Star River Village. For the next 5 years, I kept having the same dream. In my dream, there was a familiar yet unfamiliar figure and a clear voice calling out to me, Daddy Jiusheng. Daddy Jiusheng, why? Why would someone call me Daddy? I clearly don't even have a loved one. I clearly am extremely indifferent toward the word love. How could I have a son? But as it turned out, I was still too naive. When I saw her again at the entrance of the department store, my eyes firmly fell on her body. What did I feel at that moment? It was as if the entire world was black and white in my eyes, and she was the only one who was colorful. Every movement, every word, every smile was a beautiful scene that was faintly discernible. It was the exploration that he yearned for day and night. End of chapter. Chapter 34-35. I didn't have time to think about what happened next. My heart jumped in my throat. The black off-road vehicle sped towards Li Luo's direction. The little boy with delicate features and a somewhat familiar face standing beside her rushed forward without hesitation and hugged Li Luo and knocked her away. I didn't know why he was so nervous. It was a kind of nervousness that I had never felt in my life. Was it because my niece was in danger? Or was it something else? I didn't have time to think about it. I quickly got out of the car and walked toward the little boy. His wrist was bleeding a lot, but his expression was surprisingly calm. He didn't panic at all. It was as if this series of events had long been predicted in his eyes. I carefully checked his injuries. Li Luo was crying hard, which made me feel irritated. However, she looked different from the others. She cared about the little boy's injuries, but she tried to avoid my gaze. This feeling made me uncomfortable. However, I didn't expect that she was my wife and that the boy was my son. He had a very nice name, Nianen. I didn't know why she had given him this name, but I could feel the love and warmth she had given him. She wanted to go to the hospital herself, but I insisted on taking her to the hospital. I found it strange that Can had decided to do this. In fact, even I found it strange. I had never wanted to be so close to someone. It was as if I was being pulled by something. This feeling wasn't unfamiliar. It seemed that I had been pulled by something like this before. In the hospital, the nurse carefully bandaged Nian's wounds. I talked to her from time to time. From some information I had pieced together, I knew that she was from Xinghe Village. I had always been concerned about Xinghe Village. The person I cared about the most was the man called Yiran. When we met, he looked at me with hostility. However, I was sure that I had never seen him before. I didn't know why he was so hostile to me. However, I was clear that there was a year in my life that I didn't remember. As for where I was and what kind of people I came in contact with during that year, I had no idea. There was a voice in my heart telling me that I knew the girl in front of me. Maybe it was during that year that I couldn't remember. It was a bold assumption, but there was no way to verify it. But when I couldn't get any confirmation, I became more and more anxious. In addition, that child called Nian and always called me Daddy Jiusheng, which made me feel an inexplicable warmth in my heart. I like this feeling. I like it very, very much. This kind of love had already overshadowed the fact that I wanted to find out who the child was with. It didn't seem to be important at all. It was obvious that Su Mu had come prepared at the venue of the Olympic Sports Center. He had already recruited 30% of the villagers of Xinghe Village. This was very advantageous to him, but I wasn't in a hurry. Whatever he could give to the Star River Village, I could do the same. However, if he had the support of the villagers, it would indeed be more troublesome. Before I could think of how to handle it perfectly, she was already on the stage. She then took out a blueprint that would allow Galaxy Village to be built into a resort. The moment she opened the blueprint, everyone was stunned. And everyone in there, including me. Because the handwriting on that architectural blueprint belonged to me. In a chapter. Chapter 34-36. Pikachu proved this. Actually, even without it, I could tell with a single glance. This was an incomparably complicated design. It was impossible to draw it without several months. This proved that I had stayed in the Star River Village for a few months. Therefore, in that blank memory, I was indeed in Star River Village. Although I didn't completely remember it at that time, at least I proved something. The reason why I find her so familiar must be because I know her. Moreover, the relationship between us wasn't normal. Then again, I had never seen Yenin before, but I felt that his eyes were strangely similar to mine. Looks wouldn't lie, so there was only one possibility. She was my wife, and Yenin was my son. While taking care of the matters behind the venue, I had the lawyer go to the bureau to check the marriage registration. Luo Qingchun was indeed married, and her husband was called Jiu Sheng. I never told her about this because I specially changed the information of the bureau, changing that Jiu Sheng to do Jiu Sheng. I also used my connections to exchange 2 red marriage certificates. I planned to give them to her again under the bright, starry sky of Galaxy Village when everything was settled. But God didn't give me this chance. When I was bidding for the Golden Triangle project, my heart was strangely anxious. I knew that something had happened, but I didn't know what it was. When I couldn't get through to her, I fell into endless panic. No one knew how regretful I was. I didn't expect that Su Mu would want to die with us. I still lost in the end. If I had been more careful, Nyenin wouldn't have been in danger. I let them down. I let Nyenin down. I didn't fulfill my responsibility as a father and put him in danger. On the way to the underground ice cellar, there were some fragments that appeared in front of my eyes. It seemed to be the scenery of Xinghe Village. I was walking by the sea with her, and she liked to hold my hand as she revealed a bright smile. I thought, I had to keep that smile no matter what. That smile belonged to me. The moment I walked into the ice cellar, I knew that this was a dead end. Su Mu's ultimate goal was to bury our family of 3 in this ice cellar, but we had to save them. No one could stop me, not even God. However, in the end, I couldn't deal with the bomb beside Nyenin. In that case, there was only one solution left. I want her to live. It doesn't matter if I'm alive or not. It's just that when the door closed, my heart was so reluctant to part with it. I also want to be by her side all the time. When she was happy, I would take her out to eat and buy her gifts. When she was sad, I would gently stroke her head and take her on a trip to relax. I also want to watch Nyen grow up. He must be very similar to me. He must be the school hunk. He must be good at basketball. There must be many girls who adore him. He would definitely not fall in love easily. He would only open his heart when he felt a rush of adrenaline. At that time, I must have been lying in a rocking chair at home, watching the financial news while teasing her son. There's still a long way to go, but the heavens haven't given us a chance. At the moment of the explosion, I seemed to hear Nyen and crying. How I wish, how I wish, how I wish, how I wish I could stay. Just because you guys said you don't want to leave, then congratulations on bringing 50 out of 100 soul fragments into the lead god space. End of chapter. Chapter 34-37. Deep in the palace. Witch's trick 1. The story after that. When Nyenin was 10, Luo Qingchun's body gradually became worse. She went to the hospital several times and did a CT scan. The doctor said that there was a small hole in her heart, and although it was small, it would affect her lifespan. The only surgery was a heart transplant, but first, she had to wait for a suitable heart, and second, there were risks. Luo Qingchun felt that it was better to drag it out. If there was a problem with the surgery, Nyen would be left alone again. She kept dragging it out until Nyen was 18. This illness couldn't be dragged out any longer. Nyen was already a handsome young man at that time. He was very good at basketball and was like a god on the basketball court. As he grew up, his personality became more and more like Du Jiusheng. His tone was cold, and he didn't look at the love letters that filled his mailbox because he knew that the girl he looked at for years didn't appear. Senior, I've heard that you've studied myocardial infarction. Can you teach me a bit? A girl wearing a blue and white uniform looked at him with large watery eyes. It won't take up much of your time. I'm afraid not today. Nyenin said in a cold voice, I'm celebrating someone's birthday today. The girl's eyes were a bit disappointed as they dimmed. Is it a girl? Nyenin replied without any hesitation, and there was a proud look in his voice. A very beautiful girl. Then the girl was even more disappointed. Nyenin walked out of the school gate, and the girl followed behind him. She saw him stop in front of a gray Rolls Royce. There was a girl wearing a white sweater in the driver's seat. She looked very unfamiliar. not like a student from their school. But there was one thing that Nian was right about. She was very beautiful, a kind of indescribable beauty. It was just that her face was a little pale, but her eyes were very lively. The girl only took one look at her, and she could clearly feel the difference between them. No wonder Nian and didn't like anyone. It turned out that there was such a beautiful girl by his side, but the beautiful girl in the girl's mouth didn't live past this winter. She didn't say much. She just lay on the hospital bed and looked at Nian and with reluctance. Nian and, Mommy, you should go. You're too tired. If you see Father Jiao Sheng, tell him for me that Nian and misses him very much. All right. If you two are together, no matter where, Nian will be very happy. The sound around her gradually faded. She closed her eyes and fell into darkness. When he opened his eyes again, he was in the primal chaos space. The following is a summary of the data for this mission. Please read it carefully. Name: Luo Qingchen Plain Space, a marriage contract. This time we are enemy's mission completion rate, 100% EXP. 4,500/10,000 currently. There are 5 items in the portable space. 4/5 exquisite ring, 9-section moon whip, phoenix dance sword, universal medicine box. Permanent ability. Space-time freeze level 6 permanent ability. Teleport LV 5 permanent ability. Telekinesis level 2 exchange points. 5,000 base points. 40 obtained a special ability from the Lord God. 1 time. It can be used in any plane. The host's 51st mission panel is below. Appearance: 95 out of 100 strength, 96 out of 100 intelligence, 97 out of 100 figure, 98 out of 100. After that, the image in the bronze mirror changed. Mission grade: SS experience gained, 500 female lead, Luo Qingchen male lead, Lonely Star supporting female lead, Lung 1 US supporting male lead. By Sita mission content. Return to the time before the previous host died and obtain the love of the male lead. New plane into this chapter. Chapter 34-38. Luo Qingchen stayed in the primal chaos space for 10 whole days before accepting the new world. In these 10 days, she thought about many things. She felt that perhaps staying in the primal chaos space forever was not a bad thing. Even though there was nothing here, it made her feel at ease at times. However, there were some things she had to do. If she stayed where she was, she would not be able to change anything. Accept the memories of the previous host. Sending the memories of the previous host. Host, please accept. This was a very sad story. The previous host was the pearl of the left prime minister, the daughter of the first wife. She had a younger sister who was lively, completely different from her cold and dignified personality. Her younger sister was born of a concubine, so her status in the family was not as high as hers. However, some things did not depend on status, but on fate. When the previous host was 10 years old, she was sitting in the courtyard playing the zither while her younger sister was dancing. This scene was seen by the 9th prince, Lonely Star. At that time, his half-brother, Gu Fuyue, was standing next to him. The two looked at each other. Gu Fuyue looked at him and asked, I heard that Imperial Father intends to marry one of the women of the Luo family to 9th brother. Who does 9th brother prefer? Lonely Star raised his eyebrows slightly. His face was like a pearl, and he had a heroic spirit that no one else had. He said, the woman who is dancing. Gu Fuyue showed an anxious expression. I also like her. How about we have a fair competition? Lonely Star's cold eyes narrowed. After a long time, he nodded. All right. Gu Fuyue was the most favored prince of the present king. He was ranked 4th. Even though he was not born of the central palace, he was talented in both civil and military affairs. Thus, he was appreciated by the king. However, most smart people like to fight for things. In Lonely Fuyue's eyes, the person who could pose the greatest threat to him in the future was the 9th prince, Lonely Star. Therefore, he would snatch anything that caught his eye, be an object or a person. Why was he the greatest threat? Because Lonely Star was the son of the central palace. In other words, he was the son of the empress. In his eyes, Lonely Star was a person with deep thoughts and arrogance. However, he did not see through him completely. The true lone constellation star was not just proud and aloof, he was cold as ice. He was like a frozen pond with 0 degrees Celsius, and no one could warm his heart. The reason was simple, because what he experienced was a fear that no one else could experience. His mother had died when he was 3 years old. The well-dressed woman sitting in the palace right now was a witch in disguise, and this witch thought that he didn't know about it. Actually, the lone constellation star understood this better than anyone else. After all, the red light that fell from the sky on the day he was born meant that his life would be extraordinary. Born as a genius, he was destined to be lonely. Over the years, he had been investigating the witch. It was rumored that on the northernmost Yanang mountain, there was a place called Divergent Technique City. There was a barrier outside the city, and the people living in the city were all people with divergent techniques. He had also sent shadow guards to investigate the so-called Divergent Technique City many times, but every time they returned without success. His imperial father was obsessed with the witch, but the witch was wearing his imperial mother's face. He could never forgive it and could never accept it. His long period of isolation and arrogance had caused his personality to gradually become distorted. In addition to his meticulous mind, he could see through everyone's thoughts. Gu Fuyue was the same. Actually, whether it was singing or dancing, the lone constellation star had no interest in them. However, he knew that as long as he chose something, Gu Fuyue would definitely choose it. This was because he was competitive and liked to compete. End of chapter. Chapter 34-39. And he had used this point of his to make Gu Fuyue fall for Luo Wanyue. A concubine's daughter was definitely not as noble as a legitimate daughter. When Gu Fuyue showed his goodwill, Luo Wanyue picked up a large rock and placed it in front of her. And he, who liked to be strong, was immersed in the joy of Luo Wanyue's response. As for the host, because the 4th and 9th princes both showed their goodwill to Luo Wanyue, the host position in the prime minister's residence was not as good as before. But no matter what, she was still the madam's daughter and the pearl of the prime minister's residence. Originally, the prime minister felt that sending the host into the palace was his only bargaining chip. But now he found that Luo Wanyue was his biggest bargaining chip. Because the 2 princes who had the highest chance of becoming crown prince were both in love with Luo Wanyue. This way, he could send both the host and Luo Wanyue into the palace. One would marry the 4th prince and the other the 9th prince. Then no matter which prince ascended the throne, the prime minister could guarantee his position in the imperial court would not fall. The host had a cold personality and rarely spoke. When she found out that the 2 princes had their eyes on her sister, she did not care, because she already had someone she liked. That person was not Gu Fuyue or Gu Fuyue, but the son of the great general Bai Situ. When the host was 6, she had lost her wet nurse in the market. At that time, strange things were happening in the city. For example, a man who seemed to have his body sucked dry, or a young girl who had her heart dug out. Just as the host was crying in fear in the ruined temple, Bai Situ heard the noise and came to find her. He was wearing a suit of armor that was slightly stained with blood. His face was handsome as he steadily carried her on his back. The prime minister has lost his daughter. The entire city is looking for you. Bai Situ glanced over and said gently to her, "The capital is not peaceful these days. Don't go out at night." Hearing this, the host shrank into his arms and said with a red face, "I know." Bai Situ probably did not remember her, but she remembered him deeply in her heart. Until many years later, when she saw him again, the distance between them had already become a dream that was shelved on the shelf. Within 3 months, Gu Fuyue had won Luo Wanyue's heart and married her in a grand ceremony, becoming the princess consort. But there was an order of seniority. The current emperor felt that the elder sister should be married first, and then there would be a younger sister. Therefore, the original body was betrothed to Gu Shixing, who had been going to the left prime minister's residence for a long time recently. Actually, the emperor also knew a little about the fight between Gu Fuyue and Gu Suxing over the youngest daughter of the left prime minister. Making this decision not only protected Gu Suxing's reputation, but also allowed the powers in court to maintain a balance. In the imperial court, the solitary constellation frowned, then cupped his hands and said, "Your son accepts the decree." Everyone saw him frown, but they didn't see the faint smile on his face when he knelt down to receive the order. Actually, the person he wanted to marry from the start was the original host. Of course, it wasn't because he admired the original host, but because he fancied the power of the original host's family. It was said that the left prime minister's first wife, the mother of the original host, came from the northernmost Yineng mountain of the continent. Yineng mountain was barren. Not a single blade of grass grew. There was not even a single house. And the original host's mother came from there. This meant that there was a 90% chance that she came from Divergent Technique City. His mother's death had not been avenged, and the witch in the palace had not died. He still had a lot of things to do. This chapter ends.